Hello everybody, this is the Retro Bear back with you once again for another episode of Desert Island Games, the show where I maroon even a YouTuber on a desert island with some of his favourite games, his or her favourite games, or games that they've enjoyed over the years, or games that they want to play a bit more, or games they absolutely hate, more of which will become apparent as we go along. Also along the way we talk about their gaming history and also a bit about their YouTube channel as well. If you haven't heard any of the previous episodes, please go and check the archive in the contents below. There are, I think, 12 episodes at the moment up across 2 different seasons. The long waiting list for people getting on and hoping to be upcoming guests in future episodes. So my guest this episode is a guy I've been watching for, I'd say, over 12 months now. Maybe a bit longer than that, I'm not quite sure. I think it was about 12 months ago anyway. Channel which does lots of gaming pickups, video responses. Also as well, there's a very, very popular, very, very short popular video, which is a Sunday morning shout out where picks a YouTube channel, gives a bit of a shout out. Same thing that I do myself as well. Just focuses on the one and to give him a bit of a boost. It's always good to get shout outs on YouTube if you're new to doing that. Also, a 3-time YouTuber of the Month nominee. Now, he's nominated for the current month, where we're recording this in August, but by the time this goes out, which will be September, we'll know whether he's won or lost. So we'll have to try and find out along the way. Also, as well, I did have to do a bit of research. They just hit, at the time of recording, which is the 17th of August, 200 subscribers as well, which is a bit of an achievement. He looks rather surprised because he probably hasn't checked that. In that case, I'll flummox him completely and bring in Koopa's World, otherwise known as Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hello, thank you for that. I didn't know that.
Now, I just checked, made a couple of notes beforehand, and I noticed you're on the 200. So congratulations.
Wow, I didn't know that myself. That was good. Thank you.
Well, that may or may be a bit more than by the time this goes out, because I'm recording these about 3 weeks in advance at the moment. So, thank you very much indeed for coming on. It's great to have you as a guest.
Thank you. Well, it's been on and off for about 12 months. I think we've not aligned our diaries at all, so it's been a while.
That's it. Yeah, there were a couple of people last year. I think after episode 5, I think yourself and on a retro tip with the 2, I think I'd promised, and we never got round to doing it. So wanted to get you on as soon as we could on this one. But it's good to have you here. And has it been 12 months or 2 years since you did a couple of videos a while ago, and then there's a gap, wasn't there? And
it's been 4 years since I did my first video on YouTube. So just a quick brief history on that, why I started that. So I'd had a hernia operation, so I was sort of bedridden, and I just got a Wii U, and I thought I want to know what these amiibo things do. So I started watching some videos and saw some American YouTubers that get sent amiibos free from Nintendo, and they just unbox them. I thought, well, I could do that. Yeah. Why aren't Nintendo sending me free stuff? I can do that. So I bought some amiibo, opened them up, and no one watched anything. I just expected everyone just to turn up and start watching. So I did a couple of those and then didn't do anything for 2 years. So.
Oh, right. Oh, so. Yeah. But so you've been uploading content now?
Regularly, let's say a year and a half. I think it was. I think I started right in the middle of Danester's Live from Lockdown. It sort of gave me the push to start doing that.
Okay, so that was about April last year, wasn't it? You started doing those around about April, May time. I went through till May anyway. So okay, so it's near enough 18 months, isn't it? Because that's right. Yeah, I said pickups, shout outs, video responses, all sorts of.
I've got some other things in the pipeline, but without having a dedicated games room finished yet, it's difficult to try and get it done.
Because your games room has been a work in progress for quite some time now, hasn't it? So in case anybody's not familiar with your channel. Yeah.
Every time I get a games room, I seem to have another child come along, so I'm reluctant to finish it.
Is there a pattern developing here or something? Yeah. Because you're bored waiting for it to get complete, you have to go and do something else, and then 9 months later.
No one's told me where these children are coming from.
You obviously missed that lesson at school then, I'm guessing, but oh dear. But yeah, it's great to have you on, Steve, and as always with everybody who comes on here, if they've got a YouTube channel, there's always going to be a link below in the description to your channel. If anybody hasn't and check Steve out, great presenter on his channel. Really sort of laid back, knows your stuff as well. Your Nintendo cardboard. Everyone seems to associate you with. That's the first time I ever heard it. Nintendo cardboard seemed to come from yourself.
I think I got it from Tootie, but yeah.
Everybody, yeah.
Everyone gets everything from Tootie.
A lot of people have got stuff from Toothy over the years. Not all of it games. I dare say, but that's the first time I heard it on your channel. I'm sure it was.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's, I was explaining to someone at work today that there's money in that Nintendo cardboard.
There's more money in the cardboard, I think, than the actual contents
of
the box. Yeah.
I said it's going to be the next currency after Bitcoin.
Oh, Dave, you've got no idea what we're talking about. We're talking about Nintendo game boxes. Was it NES, Super Nintendo, N64, isn't it? And then obviously the Game Boy stuff, the handheld, the Game Boy, the Game Boy Advance is. Try and find some of those in good condition. I've got a completely flat. I think my last video wasn't it? I think Game Boy Color Pokemon, which is basically I think it's sat on something or sat underneath something for the best part of 20 years and now completely flat. But if you've got Nintendo cardboard, there's some money in that. There's certainly some money.
It's an expensive hobby, but I'm under no illusion I'm ever going to get a full set. I've seen some of the prices of some of the things, but it's just the thrill of trying to find it on the wild, and it's just the thrill of the hunt more than anything else. So
it is to come across something like that is quite an achievement. Although when we say in the wild, we mean outside of independent retailers, really, don't we? Yeah, and if you want to go to a designated game shop, not CEX or cash converters, but a shop which specialises in that sort of thing, then that's where you're going to find those sort of things. When we say in the wild, we find a boxed Super Nintendo game in a charity shop.
Yeah, I mean, last real haul I got was a friend at work said, I've got an NES and some games. Are you interested? And worked out a price. And it turned up they were all boxed with instructions.
Was it a good price?
Yes, I was very upfront and said, this is what CX will give you cash and this is what they give you voucher. And they went, no, just give me this. And it was well lower.
That's not bad then, is it? I was approached that point of view saying, this is what CX will give you cash, this is what CX voucher you'll get, this is what I'm going to give you.
Yeah.
It's a lot lower. Yes, well, that's because it's market value. I'm saving you the trouble of going all the way to doing that.
Yeah.
That's how you get good deals, or not. In most cases, maybe.
There was one case someone came and said, no, I want more than that. I said, that's fine. I'm not going to offer more than that. And they put it on eBay and it went for less.
Well, it goes to show, doesn't it? Goes to show. Yeah. And not always the be all and end all of trying to do something like that. It's people. You can understand why people get the hump, can't you? But I'm not. Or they message you, I'm not going to sell it for that amount because I wanted more for it. But I don't know. That's just being greedy, or you just get surprised by it. I don't know.
I'm very upfront with them, so I'm not trying to rip you off. I want a deal that fits us both, and this is the most I'm going to go to. So if you like it, fine. If you don't, then happy days. Move on to someone else. But I'm not going to pay over the odds.
No. Well, that's again. All these pitfalls of collecting, isn't it? At the moment, especially where the prices are. Only pay what something's worth. That's what it is. If you want to pay stupid money for it, do so. But you're driving the market in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and it's very easy to get drawn into. I need more pickups to make more content, and I really do reality check myself and say, no, slow down. You're buying too much. You're spending more than you can afford to spend.
Yes,
and rein it in a bit. So
yeah, that's a very good point, and I think anybody getting into collecting games at the moment. And he's going to go down that route of collecting boxed Nintendo or box Sega. He's just on a hide into nothing. You'll find the cheap stuff very, very easily. It's the more expensive stuff or the less rare stuff. Not less rare, more rare. Less common. That's it. Thank you, Steve. Which is going to cause a problem. It's going to cost the money at the end of the day. And there are other systems, cheap systems to collect for, but you've got to go with the right intentions and the right aims and. You've got to have a budget as well. Otherwise, you said you spend far too much money. And
I'm not about to spend £500 on a game that it's got a nice box and it's going to sit on the shelf and I never play it. So,
I wouldn't do that either. No, you only get some use. I even debate, 20 quid, something like that. Like, can I really, want to spend 20 quid on that just to sit on the shelf for a bit? I don't know.
Well, we've all got excess shelf space, haven't we? So.
Oh yeah, loads. Yeah. That's why you're having the games room built. That's why Tootie's knocking down his garage or whatever he's been doing to that building on, and that's why I'm moving into a second room. So yeah. Anyway, it's a pitfall of being a collector.
Yeah.
Right, let's get cracking then, because we got some. I was a quick chat beforehand, and I always go through what we're going to talk about. And again, I always say this, but it's always true because people do agree with me. Some couple of systems which I don't think we've had before on your gaming history, which is good. Certainly, I think 1, 2, 3. I think certainly 3 games. One game I've never even heard of, one game I have heard of, and one game I don't think we've had on here before either. So there's 3 games on that as well, and an interesting one to finish with on your hated game, which keeps people listening right until the very end. I'm pretty sure that's come up a few times already. And some of these games, I know one of these games comes up pretty much every episode, near enough, but that's because it's the game it is. But anyway, so your gaming history, and this starts off quite some time ago. What was your first system that you've sort of experienced?
So I'm a 70s child, so it was in, I think we're the same age. So, it was in the early 80s. My father came home with a Binatone TV Master, so it was a plug and play Pong machine. He hooked it up to a black and white TV that they had in the parents' bedroom, and me and my brothers used to play Pong and variations of Pong.
Was this one? Was this one like with an overlay on the screen, or did it have like different attachments to it as well?
No, no overlay. It was just the wheel thing. It had Pong, and then it would have like hockey that would have 2 flippers either side, and it was just every variation of Pong. But yeah, it was.
At that age, you don't notice, it doesn't stick out so much. But when you sort of look at it now, like I've done so with Video Olympics on the Atari 2600, you sort of realise that pretty much every single game is just a variation of Pong. You've just got a different number of characters on the screen at the same time. And then when I've seen, I didn't have one of these when I was younger, so you had ones with overlays or that they came with a gun attachment, and it's 4 exciting games, and it's exactly the same game. You're just playing it with a different number of blocks on the screen.
So they hooked up to their black and white TV that had its own stand with wheels that could be wheeled around.
Wow. Oh, posh child, eh? Oh, it's a posh family for that one, yeah. Television on wheels.
Well.
Oh, dear. But did it sort of like appeal to you straight away? Did you playing on it the first time? Was it like, wow, this is like a completely new world, or did it not sink in?
That was absolutely amazing. Me and my brothers were playing it for hours, and I was thinking about this the other day. If I showed that to my kids, they would struggle to get 5 minutes play out of that without getting bored.
You're right. You're right. But I'm not. I liked it. It was the thing is when me and my sister used to play it, we always used to spend more interest in making it go quicker than being strategic about it. So you just try and hit the ball at the right angle so it would sort of go quicker up the screen, and then that was just a funny part.
It was all about trying to get the angle, or we called it spin at the time, where you're trying to hit it on the move and off the end of the flipper or something. Yeah, it was definitely something we sort of try to master and try and beat each other. But you'll see through this that me and my brothers are very competitive. So.
And the great thing about these sort of Pong consoles, I think they've been sort of termed now, there's so many of them available you can still buy. And I did raise this in a previous episode with somebody. So I'm surprised it wasn't that these machines fetch a lot of money. They don't. You can get them for a few quid, can't you?
Yeah, I was looking up because Nintendo obviously did them in Japan, and I was looking up how much it was to get one boxed here, and they're not readily available, but they're not expensive when they do come up. So
I always thought something like that, being the first home consoles, compared to what other consoles there is. Say the 2600 was the biggest one. At how much one of those boxed goes for, and these Pong ones just and the clone ones, they just don't command big money. Because I'm pretty sure people are finding these in their lofts and go, oh yeah, this retro gaming thing. There's be people, we want this, and you go on eBay and there's like 250 of them listed, and they're all £5 each.
Yeah.
That's even the boxes.
I don't know. Even if I did buy one, it's probably something I'll play for 5 minutes and put away and just stick it on a shelf somewhere.
I think it's one of those for yourself, sort of historic machines that you could probably have in your collection and say, well, this is what I started playing, but you're not going to bring it into active rotation and keep dragging it out, when you're at Christmas and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just not that sort of thing, is it really?
Yes, yeah. I think the nostalgia's there, but I think in reality it's not going to be something I play.
Yeah, I'd like one, but again, it's just going to sit and gather dust really. And my first variation on Pong was playing Combat on the 2600 anyway, which is the and that was they call it tank. It was a tank game. You use one tank on one side, one tank on the other, and you sort of go towards each other and shoot. So it's pretty basic stuff when you think about it. Right. So how old were you when you first played on that then?
Oh, I'm not sure when they came out. I've got to be about 7 or 8, I think. 7, maybe 7 or 8.
And then the next machine on your list, which is a bit of a jump, this one, isn't it?
Yes. So this next one was I just started secondary school, and we'd convinced my parents that we needed a computer. A couple of my friends had the same one or the one down from this, and so I thought, well, that would be perfect. And I talked them into it. And one Christmas, they turned up with an Amstrad CPC 6128.
Not the 464, the 6128.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I bet that was a
Trafford catalogue or something.
Right. I bet that was an exciting time to have something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We convinced them that the disk drive was the way to go because the load times are a lot quicker, and so they were up for that. And I think they soon realised it was never going to be used for schoolwork.
So the penny drops quite quickly, doesn't it? You sort of find after a short period of time, they're not going to be using this for educational purposes. We're never going to see them again. They're going to spend their entire time locked in their room playing games.
Yeah, so that's something me and my brothers played all the time. It came with Roland in Time and stuff like that. And I think me and my brothers quickly realised that disc-based games were quite expensive, so we bought a tape player and plugged that into it and just bought tapes in the end anyway.
I was going to say, because the downside of the disc games, okay, you got the loading time, which is a benefit, but they were drastically more expensive than the tape games. Yeah, because that was my parents' take on things anyway. Cassette games are a waste of time. Disc-based games are the way to go. So I had to wait until I was at secondary school till we got an Amiga. That was my first one, but again, that was bought with the intention of using it for an educational purpose, which unsurprisingly never actually happened.
Yeah, the Amstrad joysticks were rubbish. We kept on breaking those at various knots as well. So,
did you know anybody else with an Amstrad growing up at school?
So a friend of ours, school friend, he had a 6128 as well, which is what convinced me. And then another one had a 464. So it's quite strange because I didn't know anyone with a home computer. No, 2 others that had Amstrads, and then once I sort of told to people that, we've got a home computer, they all had Spectrums.
Right.
And then one person had a Commodore 16.
A 16? Oh, right, okay. 16. Yeah. I knew one person with a 16. I think it was 16 plus 4. But I never knew anybody. I never knew anybody with an Amstrad at all. It was either Commodore, it was mostly Commodore 64 or Spectrum. Nobody I knew had an Amstrad. I saw them in the shops, but apart from that, nobody I knew ever had one. I hadn't played on an Amstrad until about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Because I've got one, but I've just never knew anybody with one. I'm just wondering, and you say you knew other people with them as well, which is quite interesting because
I don't know if we were just a little pocket of Amstrad.
Funny you say that, right? Because I've spoken to other people who've had Spectrums and they've had Commodores, and they always had the same answer to the question: is, I didn't know anybody with a Commodore, or I didn't know anybody with a Spectrum. And you think, well, I didn't really know anybody with an Amstrad. So you're probably right. There's probably little pockets up and down the country throughout that period of time where certain machines are popular and certain machines just got complete dearth. No, it's the same with the Master System and the NES. I knew people with a Master System, but I never knew anybody with an NES.
Wow.
Never knew anybody.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
strange.
it's strange. I mean, I didn't know anyone other than Amstrad, and then at school, everyone had Spectrums. So wow, okay, it's strange. So yeah, so once we worked out that disc-based games were expensive, we used to just buy our games based on the cover art in Boots or W.H. Smith, and what was cheap that we could afford after being at the cinema or something. So yeah. So most of them are forgettable, but the only one I can ever remember that there's only two I ever remember that I bought was Treasure Island Dizzy. Absolutely hard as nails as a kid to try and do that.
Yeah.
And then I think Turbo Outrun.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but that went missing, and I don't know whatever happened to that.
You're not lending it to somebody.
I lent it to someone. I remember picking it back up from their house, and then I don't remember seeing it again.
It happens a lot, that as well.
Yeah.
A few people have told me, so I've lent so-and-so a game or this person a game. I never saw it again after that. It's like, oh, okay, it's a fairly common thing. Treasure Island Dizzy, I mean, I got that on the Amiga. That was a hard game. But,
you had to get it because it had speech in it.
Yeah.
and it was a fun game, but yeah.
Music was great.
Yeah.
Brilliant music on it. Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple of sort of games there. Games based on cover art. I mean, you had to back then, unless you were reading the magazines or you were looking to get hold of a magazine, have a quick scan of the reviews and what had come out. You are basically buying a game based on what it looks like.
Well, my parents used to buy. I think it was either CPCs or Amstrad Action. I can't remember which one it was, but as a kid, you don't read much. You just look at the pictures, screenshots, advertising. And then you just go to the bit where there's some code that you can type in to have a free game. And that's about it.
I think when I used to look at the magazines, I always I'd go straight through reviews in the magazine. And I wouldn't read the review. I would just go to what the percentage you got at the very bottom.
Yeah.
And I'd look at the percentage and then judge my purchase based on not always, because even if it's occasionally you get like a fairly average score or a poor score, if it was something I was particularly interested in or I really wanted to try it for myself, I'd buy it anyway.
Yeah, it was definitely. There was another great game a friend had. I think I mentioned this to you before. Is Brian Clough Football?
Oh yes. Football Fortunes. Yeah, Football Fortunes. Yeah. It
comes with a board game. We used to play that for hours on end. Great.
Was the board game didn't complement the game, did it? It was separate to the.
I think you had to go around and then you picked up players and stuff as you went around the board, and then you'd program in your squad into the machine before it did the next run of matches.
Oh, that's interesting. I was aware of it at the time, but I didn't see it. Know anybody.
From what I remember, it was probably near on 30 years ago. Over 30 years ago. So.
But yeah, that was. That's it. I'd like to see even get a complete set of that, where they can still buy the board game and the game on eBay or something.
I've not looked, but I'm not sure if that's possibly.
Well, you may be able to. We never know anyway. Did you like the Amstrad? Good system, or?
Well, I never really played on the Spectrum or Commodore at the time, so it's all I had. So, yeah, I enjoyed it at the time. I don't think I'll buy one now for nostalgia because there's probably less than 5 games that I could probably name that I enjoyed or absolutely hated. Jet Set Willy was a nightmare. And Manic Miner. Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, talk about hard games. I mean, yeah, that's. But again, you sort of say that you show your kids that game nowadays, and they wouldn't be able to play it at all, would they? I mean, it would just be.
Where's your save point? There isn't.
Yeah. How many lives do you get? That's it. There you go. 1. All the way rewind, and then we're going to rewind the tape to a previous level, or all the games you do that.
Oh
yeah. They just wouldn't know how to cope with something like that. It's a completely different era.
Another great game. I just remember WEC Le Mans. I absolutely love that game on there.
Now I never played that on the Commodore 64. It's horrible. Commodore 64 was terrible for races. It's an atrocious game. But although I have got a copy, I haven't played it yet. The Spectrum version is meant to be the best one, I think.
Oh, okay.
I've not played the Amstrad one.
I mean, I'm probably looking back with rose-tinted glasses, probably absolutely shocking now. But...
Well, I don't. I've spoken about this game to all the people who have had Spectrums, and they say, "Oh no, it's one of the best races on the Spectrum. It's really, really good." And if you, I never saw the arcade game, but apparently it was like a hydraulic one.
Oh yeah, I used to play the hydraulic one if I saw it.
Yeah, I never saw it. Yeah,
like a saucer thing, so you'd spin around every time you turn the corner and stuff. So
that's it. And
it's definitely much better cabinet than the Outrun that would just tilt from left to right. But I mean, Outrun would be my go-to arcade game every time if I saw that. So.
Yeah, no, it was. I remember it arrived, and it got a lot of very bad reviews, but the Spectrum one apparently is one of the best on the system. So there we go. Okay, so an Amstrad out there, which is interesting, and a 6128 at that as well. There we go.
The posh family,
yeah. Well, you got black and white television on wheels and a 6128. I'm not quite sure where we're going with this now, mate.
Oh, you don't want to hear the next bit then? No.
So after the Amstrad, you then moved on.
So my brother's very good at saving money, and he managed to save up enough money. How, I don't know. And he bought himself an NES.
Ah, right.
So not to be outdone, and me having a paper round, I went straight out and bought a Master System. So,
yeah. Which is very strange because we do associate you more with the Nintendo side of things.
So yeah, and that was sort of the big secret I had, that my first love was probably Sega over Nintendo.
Is that a confession?
I've had this chat with a few people, even Sega Zombie, and I said, if Sega was still going today, I'd probably be collecting Sega. But,
that's a very good point. I think a lot of people probably would be doing the same as well.
Because I like still modern games, I just couldn't mix and match the two. I don't have a big enough games room to start collecting from one.
Yes, yeah. Doesn't stop people doing that, you know what I mean? It's
even though someone rather kindly sent me a Mega Drive the other month. So
I did. That was good of them to do that.
Well, yeah, now I've got a Mega Drive. I don't. Oh man, yeah.
Hard plastic boxes opposed to Nintendo cardboard. Now that's the direction you're going in.
So it was a bit of competition with my brother. He bought an NES with Marooned Duck Hunt, so I had to go out and buy a Master System. Had Alex Kidd on it, or as back in the day I used to call it Alex the Kid.
Everyone used to, apart from around here, I've never known it as Alex the Kid. Only since I've gone onto YouTube, people started calling it that.
Yeah.
What was this, the original Master System or the Master System 2 variation? Oh, the original one.
The good-looking one.
Oh yeah, good choice.
It had the little. I think I had a motorbike game with the little card that slotted in the front as well.
Hang On.
Yeah, Hang On. Yeah.
Hang. I've got one with Hang On built into it. Hang On and Jungle Hunt built into it.
Then it had some weird sort of snaky game built into it.
Yes, it's Snail, I think it's called.
Snail, that's it.
Yeah. That's only on the Mark 1 version, not on the Mark 2. So,
that's the one.
Yeah, but yeah, it's obviously with your brother having an NES at the same time. Was there any sort of split loyalty there? Do you think, perhaps I've made a mistake on this one, or did he think the same? Or
so as we go through, you'll see I do complete opposite to what my brother does, just to compete with him. So even down to phone manufacturers, still he's Apple, and I refuse to go to Apple. So, but so yeah, he bought the NES, and I've got to say, there's some great games on the NES. You had Mario on there, I think you had Zelda on there, Turtles. So I'm trying to compete with him with Sonic and Alex Kidd. I'm really struggling to remember what games I had on the NES, because as a kid, money's not affluent, and you've got cinema, you've got friends to see, games is not always you. So those are the only games I can really ever remember having on the Master System. So.
Right. That's true. I mean, Sonic would have, I dare say, opened his eyes up. He was playing Mario, and then this.
Yeah. I mean, he used to come to my bedroom and we'd play some Sega, and then we'd go to his bedroom and we'd play some NES. So.
Yeah. That's interesting. I was, although I never actually had one, I never saw a Master System when I was younger. Never saw them in the shops. But I saw the NES games and thought, oh, you know, they're really good. I used to read a lot of American comic books. There was always advertisements for NES games in them. But I always associate Sega, the Master System, with the big arcade conversions like Outrun, you mentioned, Space Harrier, Operation. If all the games I used to play in the arcade were on the Master System or on Sega systems, they weren't so well known on Nintendo. I'm saying they didn't get versions of some of those games. They got other ones, but I always associated the big arcade games with the Master System or the Sega consoles. I think if I'd gone down that route, I'd probably definitely gone down the Sega route when I was younger.
Yeah, and so with he had the bigger room because he had to share with my youngest brother. So one day we wanted to play some Master System, and I said, "Look, I'll take it to your room." So I unplugged it, took it into his room, and plugged it into the NES power supply and completely fried it.
Oh, that's a mistake to make.
Yeah. So I thought, oh, this fits. That'll work. Smoked out the back, never worked again.
Did it go straight up, did it?
It's just smoke out the back, and then that's it, done.
Wow.
Opened it up, you could see the circuit board was melted around the power supply area.
Oh, that was an expensive mistake.
Well, I never replaced it. So that was a lesson learned. So it wasn't long after that my brother traded in his NES and bought a Super Nintendo. And so not to be outdone, I had to go and buy a Mega Drive.
Wow. But it's not uncommon. Other people I've spoken to have sort of had exactly the same experiences where they've had, one sibling's had one thing and one's had the other, and you've got alternative play on both at the same time. Were you interested in the Super Nintendo, or were you more interested in the Mega Drive? Sorry,
I've got to say, at the time, I was very jealous of the Super Nintendo. I mean, Sonic 2, great games. Road Rash, loved that. Even Madden, I used to play Madden quite a bit on there.
Yeah, I used to do as well. Yeah.
But he got this game, A Link to the Past, and I was blown away by that. I was absolutely wow. And so, not to be outdone, I went and bought myself an RPG on the Mega Drive, and I thought it was the worst game I'd ever played, and that was Shining in the Darkness. Absolutely hated it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I heard that one.
I bought that basically on the screenshots, and that was it. And absolutely hated it, but would never admit it to him. It was more of a dungeon crawler type, but it's man, I hated it. But yeah, I was very envious of him then.
So you think if he'd had the chance and thought about it first, you'd have bought the Super Nintendo rather than the Mega Drive?
No. I mean, having that Mega Drive, I was watching the adverts all the time for the Mega CD and really wanted to get a Mega CD. Always wanted, and still today, I want to get a Mega CD.
I'd like one as well. Yeah.
I've not got the room for one. I came very close to buying one, I'd say about 9 years ago, when they were relatively cheap. They weren't cheap, but they were cheaper than they are now, and it just didn't happen. So,
a friend of mine had one as well. He had it when it came out, and he was always on about it. But it just seemed a bit. It was a bit primitive. You're probably expecting the Earth, and then you got these grainy FMV games. And back at the sound was all right. You get CD quality sound off it, but I don't think there was anything on there that would sort of inspire me to run out and buy a Mega Drive and a Mega CD. Or if I had a Mega Drive to go and buy a Mega CD with.
Yeah, I think Sega marketed it really well, because that's all I was seeing was Mega CD footage and adverts and stuff, and I was never seeing anything for the Super Nintendo advertised at the time. So perhaps I was blinkered a bit, but yeah, that was just full on Sega fan at that point.
Did you have many games for it, or I know you mentioned a couple, but I mean, did you have a big collection, or
again, probably I had other priorities at that age, sort of 15, 16. I'm probably pushing around there at the time. So there's going out with friends and stuff. So I do remember Road Rash. Absolutely loved that. Madden's, the Sonics. I remember Sonic Tuesday going down to my local, I think it was W.H. Smith, going in, buying it. So I probably cycled 3 miles to get to this shop, picked it up, cycled home, played it non-stop until I had to go to college that day, and then that was straight off to college.
Wow. What got most play, Super Nintendo or Mega Drive?
It was probably, for me, Mega Drive, because my little brother was then probably old enough to start playing Super Nintendo, and it doesn't take 3 players. So
Odd one out.
And he was playing a lot of Mario and Link to the Past, which are both one-player games, so you're never really going to get a look in with him.
No, that's true. That's true.
And he was phenomenal at Mario Kart, absolutely phenomenal. The other thing I do just remembered, he bought Street Fighter 2, so I had to get the next version up on the Mega Drive.
Oh, Championship Edition.
So then he went and bought the next version up, which I think was Turbo.
Yeah.
So I then had to go and buy Super.
There's a pattern developing here, isn't it? You know, just one up each time.
Oh, yeah. Very competitive, yeah.
Yeah. Right, we'll call away from your gaming history for the moment. We'll come back to that because there's still some to go through there. But we were one of the big reasons we get you on here to talk about some of these games, and that if you were stuck on a desert island, that games that you would have with you in no particular order, 6 games that you could take with you, and then on top of that, 2 other games with a different category, which we get towards the end of this. You remember the order you gave them to me before we started?
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to go in that order, then so if we take the first one off your list, because it's a game I've never heard of before, so you're gonna have to, as I always say in this situation, you have to educate me now to try and get me to understand what you're talking about, because I really have no idea.
Okay, so this is a PC game. It's Asheron's Call. It was basically it's like World of Warcraft Online before World of Warcraft Online.
What year are we talking here?
Probably 99, 98.
Okay, so the
like
end of the last millennium then.
Yeah. I'm trying to work out. I know how old I was when I started playing it, but I can't remember how long ago that was. 98.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I started playing that. Basically, my youngest brother was playing it, and he said, "Oh, this game looks really good. You should check it out." So, I'd inherited some money, so I bought my first PC and bought this game. So, people that have played World of Warcraft will know what I'm going to say, but it does take up your whole life, and you ignore everything else. Your whole life revolves around trying to level up, trying to get things, do this, do that. And it used to be patch days. I would take off work just to play the new patch and stuff like that.
Oh, so you actually take time off work?
Because there was a new patch to be first to get some new item or new dungeon or whatever.
Good man, I've done that.
Yeah.
I don't. You've got to do it at least once in your life if a game's coming out or there's a new patch or an update release, or you know. At least once, just take a day off work. You know, there's a new patch. What do you want a day off work for tomorrow? There's a new patch coming out of this game I've been playing. So
I couldn't do it every time. I remember I was working late, and the patch had obviously dropped, and I'm looking online, and people are posting screenshots, and my brother's obviously messaging me and saying, "Look," I was like, "Man, why am I here? Why am I at work? Why am I not doing this?" I could not get home quick enough for that.
What's the attraction of this game then? What I mean, you say it's like World of Warcraft, but I mean, you know, what sort of hooks you into it to spend so much time and take days off work to play updates?
Because it's massively open world, you could do whatever you wanted. So you could sit and chat to people all day, like if you were in a chat room. And I made so many great friends on there that I probably don't speak to again now. But it was. You could work on some quests. You could read up. There's a lot of lore about the games. You could say, "All right, I'm going to do this quest to collect this item. Do these other 2 quests to collect these items. I now can add them together and do this next dungeon here." And so there's so many different ways of playing the game that you could do whatever you wanted on any given day. And so I'd be chatting to someone in America, and we found out that we worked for the same company, just different ends of the world. So, and we had a great chat for hours on end about that. So, it just makes some great friends. And it's unfortunate I don't speak to any of them now. So,
yeah. Oh, but people move on and do different things, don't they?
yeah.
It's that point in time in your life where you couldn't probably go back to that time, but you look back on it and think, yeah, that was really good. And I think we've all done that as well. I've not through gaming, but other sort of methods online of meeting people from around the world and talking to people, or up and down the country and getting together to meet people and have conversations. It's just fantastic, really.
And this was the first time I'd ever heard of people paying real money for in-game items.
Yeah, that'd be about right, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So my brother had got this certain helm pre-patch. They then patched it out, but if you had it, you had it. They can't patch it out once you've got it. And someone in Japan paid him real money to hand it over. It's mad.
Wow. It's amazing to see what we come to now, isn't it, really? Because most games are laden with in-game purchases and transactions like that required or needed to upgrade. And was it a big game, this one? Was it? Do you know how many people were playing this across the world at any particular time?
I can't remember. It was probably the online game at the time. They killed it off by releasing Asheron's Call 2, which everyone left, went over to there, found out it was rubbish, and then stopped playing. So,
oh right, and just went from being phenomenon to nothing, sort of over. Yeah. So, the natural success of this would be World of Warcraft, then, I'm guessing.
I couldn't do that.
No.
It was. I think it comes up later, but I was online one day and I'd brought my new girlfriend around. She was there watching me, and I'm chatting to someone. Said, "Oh, I've got my new girlfriend here. We're playing," and they said, "You got your girlfriend here? Why are you playing games?" And I was like, "You're right," and that's it. Stopped that day. Never played again.
Oh wow, that's. I don't think I never had that epiphany myself. I know that.
It was taking over days, and I'd log on 6 o'clock in the morning and I'd play till midnight.
Okay, that's a bit excessive.
It was back in the days when I had, I think it's free service, so I had to reset my internet connection every 2 hours as well.
Oh cripes, yes, I remember that.
So go and park yourself in a safe spot, re-kick you.
Yeah, or don't go on before 6 o'clock, so you're going to pay more.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah,
no one pick up the phone. Don't pick up the phone.
Yeah. I was had to know if I went on the internet in those days, because we had phone line downstairs and phone line upstairs. So if I was going to go on the internet, I'd be using the phone downstairs because the computer was in the kitchen. Why is the computer in the kitchen? It was down the far end of the extension. That's where it was. But I could run the cable from there. So if I had to do that, I'd have to go unplug the phone and then run the phone wire upstairs to the secondary phone. Because my nan used to live in London. My nan lived in London. And in case there was a problem, the phone line had to be clear in case you needed to ring my mum for something. So I wasn't made to do that, but I had to do that. And, yeah. You don't get that nowadays. Again, trying to explain that to people. That's only 20 years ago. 20 years ago that was, and you try and explain that to what we used to do back then on dial-up, and it would have been dial-up in those days, wouldn't it, as well?
Yeah.
98. I don't know, because I think broadband came along until early 2000s, I think it was. Was it early 2000s? Maybe even later than that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if broadband was a thing before my mum passed away, but I don't know. I can't remember.
I think it started on dial-up and we finished on ADSL. But yeah, it was definitely park yourself in a safe spot, re-kick your connection, and then come back on again.
Yes, that was it. Yeah.
And then when but those few hours you're not playing and you're sleeping, you're probably using some sort of BitTorrent overnight. You're permanently connected.
Yeah, you're not coming off there at all. Yeah. Not a game I know anything about really. Although I do like games that are quite immersive and take up a lot of time, and you can just lose hours. In your case, probably days. I'm guessing from just playing something like this.
The servers are shut down now, but I mean, if they ever brought that back, and I was on a desert island, then yeah, just sitting talking to people. That's just the community, and it was so great. It was brilliant.
There's just more to it than just the gaming side of it as well. There was the friendship and the camaraderie, and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, interesting that one. If anybody else remembers that, or you were playing it around the same time Steve was, let us know in the comments, because I'm always fascinated to learn more about things that I'm coming across for the first time. Seems so about a game 25 years ago, but I've never come across that one. Let's move across to your second game on the list, because we're coming right back into pretty much smack bang modern day with this one, aren't we?
Yes. So I thought about cheating in this list, and I chose not to. So I went with this one, but my cheat game was going to be Sega Classics, because then you get 52 games in one cartridge.
That's clever thinking.
But I thought that was probably cheating. So I went with Mario Maker 2, because there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different levels that you keep going and going and going. And
if you can get online, levels that people are making as well.
Yes, yeah.
Clever thing. I can see what you're thinking there. I haven't capped this to not include compilations or anything like that, because if it's a physical release, and okay, if it's got 52 games on a cartridge, whatever, that's absolutely fine. But I've not deliberately didn't include them, so you could have included that. But
yeah,
you got Mario Maker
not in the spirit of it, but I thought, I might have chosen that.
So. I love how much care and attention people have given to doing this, because like you said with the previous game, if I was stuck on a desert island and be able to play that and talk to people, and the selections that people have made in the past, they're always thinking about, if I'm going to be stuck on a desert island, not my favourite games will take me, but if I'm stuck on a desert island game, what is the best way to spend my time playing it? And these the sort of the thought process goes into it. And you've done that with your first game, you've done this for this one as well. So Mario Maker 2 specifically, why 2?
It's better than 1.
Okay, that's fair enough.
There's more you can do with 2, so there's more options, but it was more, whenever you make a level, you're never happy with it. You always want to keep tinkering with it. And so I've got the time to tinker with it, and I can play everyone else's levels, and there's going to be infinite number of levels, so I should never get bored of it, really.
That's very true. What about the sort of story mode? You play that through, or you just go around playing the other levels?
You'll probably find with a lot of my games that I play something until the next shiny thing comes along, and then move straight on to that. So I've not completed the story in that, so I couldn't tell you. But that's something else I could then concentrate on. So yeah.
I mean, Mario's not my. I'm not saying it's to be sort of controversial, or whatever. And I don't mind Mario games, but I'm not a huge fan of them. I probably wouldn't put a Mario game in a top 10 or anything like that. No, I don't like platform. I do like platform games. I don't know. It just never really clicks with me. But this one, I've got this on the Switch. I mean, picked it up and got it for Christmas or my birthday last year. I can't remember. My dad bought it me, and I was playing the sort of story mode on it, and it was all right actually. But it still had the same sort of frustrations as Mario games do. I get to a certain point, I get a bit fed up with it, and I think, do you know what? I've had enough of this.
I mean, I'm not going to say a Mario game's in my top 5 or top 10 games, but it was something that would keep me occupied for a long time. That there's infinite number of levels. I can create infinite number of levels, and I could tinker as long as I like. But as games go, I'm not the biggest platform fan. So.
I mean, yeah, I like the Mario games. They're all playable and they're very enjoyable. But for me, it's just I just get a bit fed up with them very, very quickly. And this one I was really enjoying. I thought it's not bad actually. I like it keeps flicking between the different genres. You got the Super Mario Brothers, the early ones, and then you've got variations on more modern Mario. And I think, I quite like the idea. This is really, really good. And then I hit a certain point, and I think, do you know what? I've been sitting here for 15 minutes. I still can't get this sorted out. It's really been annoying me. I'll go and play something else.
Yeah, I mean, the building games are very. I quite enjoy them. My brother had Little Big Planet, and I used to play that and design levels and stuff like that, and quite enjoyed that. So, yes, the building and sort of tinkering and doing things your own way, I quite enjoyed doing. So.
Now, I've not explored that one. It's probably why I'm getting a lot out of this, to be honest. Not really played half the game, But again, it's having the time to sort of sit down and do that. Again, I think with a game like this, if I went back sort of 20, 25 years, it's probably the sort of game I'd sink a lot of time into. But I don't have that time now to come and put that amount of effort into doing something. But I appreciate that from what you're saying, it's the more you do outside of the standard story mode, create the levels, play the other levels, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, it was more that it's going to be different every time. Something that's not. I mean, yes, it's still 2D Mario, but there's going to be different levels every time. If I picked the normal Marios, then you're only going to have the 8 worlds and four levels in each world, and that's it. But this is going to be an infinite number of levels, so I thought that would keep me interested on the design.
Yeah, it's a good choice. It's a good choice. Yeah, not a bad game. Just maybe a bit wasted on me, that one. But and they said the first one came out on the Wii U, didn't it? Do you have that one or not?
Yes, yeah, I got that one as well.
Yeah,
that's much easier with the stylus and the gamepad to play. It's got its limitations because you don't have as much parts to build with or create with. But the new one, it's not well. You can use the touch screen, but obviously you can have it docked, so it's on a sort of daisy wheel where you spin around to what item you want, and then you can place it. So it's a bit limited in that way, but you've got more options to build and create.
Are they making a third one or not?
They haven't talked about it, but I would imagine they probably would.
I was going to say because
there's rumoured a Zelda dungeon builder, but
dungeon builder for Zelda.
That would be quite interesting. That's been rumoured, and then they put it as a little tag on the end of Link's Awakening on the Switch. They put a little sort of tag on for a dungeon builder there.
Interesting.
Right.
Tell you what, as we're cracking through these, we'll do another one from your list. We'll do your third one, and then we'll go back to your gaming history.
Okay.
Because I did speak to somebody else. I think it was a couple of episodes ago. We talked about these sort of games, which you're going to talk about now, or one of the game of the series, and they were very into this particular brand. So, third game on your list.
It's Transport Tycoon.
And it's on the PC as well.
Yes.
So, Transport Tycoon. I'm aware there was a vast amount of games with the word Tycoon in them. Again, we're probably talking late 90s here, aren't we? Early 2000s.
Probably the same time, same PC. So around
yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Because I remember Zoo Tycoon. There was it was TV Tycoon as well. You ran your own television station. We're playing that very, very briefly. So, Transport Tycoon, for those of us who don't know what it is.
So it's almost like a SimCity game, but you're just running all the transport, building the transport, the infrastructure. And so, for me, it's another game I can play exactly how I want it. I can build things exactly what I want and do it my way. And that's the type of things I like, that methodically I can think out and I want to do it this way, and that's what I'm going to do. So, but yeah, they advertise, you can get subsidies if you create a bus route from here to here. So you do that, and your people in your town demand an airport, so you build an airport, and they want to go to this town, so you build airports and train stations and train track and bridges and tunnels and all things like that. But yeah, it's more that I can sit down and do it exactly how I want it and think it out. And that's the type of game I like. But you do it your way.
Well, that's it. That's the only way to do it, isn't it? And other people tell you what to do. Apart from saying when people want you to build an airport for them, then you go and build an airport.
You don't have to. You could choose to ignore that and say, I'm not going to build you an airport. I'll give you a train station instead.
Are they usually happy with that, or are they still demanding airports?
Well, probably still demanding airports, but you can still do whatever you like. And if they want an airport and you build it in the neighbouring town that's probably a bus drive away, they're happy they've got an airport. They're flying between
reasonably
towns.
close, I suppose. Yeah, that's it. So this is one of those immersive experiences again, where you just sort of disappear for days on end, building infrastructure
and tinkering. No, I don't like that there. I'm going to move that whole rail line. I'm going to move it straight. I'm going to bulldoze this mountain now. I'm just going to put a rail line straight through.
Is there ever an end to these sort of games, or is it you just keep going on and making improvements, and as you say, tinkering, which seems to be the word of the podcast so far? Anyway.
I mean, it probably started for me from SimCity on the SNES. I used to play that, and the object of that game was to get a megalopolis, which I think was a 500,000. I did get there once. The game didn't end. It just carried on going. So.
Just carried on going. So I wonder if there's ever an actual end to some of these games, or do you reach a certain point saying, "Oh, I've done what I can with that one. I'm just going to start again from scratch."
The problem is, and why I've put it on this list, is life gets in the way and you stop playing it, and then you come back and you can't remember what you've been doing and who was demanding what and what you're in the middle of, and so you stop playing it again. But if I've got all this time in the world, I can just sit on a desert island and tinker away as much as I like.
But that's it. That's it. Because with my experience with football management games, is that you get to a certain point and you think, and then you said you stop playing it, and you go back and you load the save game. I thought, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah.
Why did I stop playing this? Was it because was it a bad run or something, or was it because it just wasn't working properly? And then you decide, oh no, it's just because I completely forgot where I was. So what I decided to do was just start from scratch and carry on. So yeah, so it's one of those. I think it's the same sort of game what you're playing there. As you said, real life gets in the way, and then you stop playing it, and then you come back and you think, hang on, where was I? Oh, I'll start again. It'll be all right. I can do that. And
yeah, I watched someone's video the other day, and they said, "Oh, if you come back to a game and you can't remember what you're supposed to do, just go back to the start and play the tutorial game, and just go through that, and then you can remember and go back." So I was in the middle of a JRPG, couldn't remember what was going on, went back and played the tutorial, and it auto saved straight over my save game.
Oh no!
Oh man!
No, cause I always used to call everything, depending on what team I was, the manager used to call it different, what team I was. So I thought, I'm not going to deliberately save over this or avoid mistakes like that. I only do stuff like that at work. Oh no, I've saved over. I press the save button. What have I done that for? I start again. But then again, I like mind-numbingly dull tasks like that, so it's all right. Obviously, it's just. Did you play any other Tycoon games, or was it just this one you got hooked on?
Probably a little bit of Roller Coaster Tycoon, maybe, but that was the one really that really sort of hooked me. Let's say, never really got into the Sims games or anything like that either. So
no, I couldn't either. Again, too much time to invest in something like that. Like the concept, when I first saw it on advertising, I thought great Sims, and when I got hold of a copy, and I was like, been playing it for an hour and nothing's happened so far.
Well, I've got a couple of them that have gone on the shelf, and I've never taken them off since. But something I saw my brother playing. I think Sims Online came out around start of 2000, and he was playing that, and I was like, no, it doesn't appeal to me. So.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's something in these Tycoon games that just sort of appeals to me slightly. And again, I think if I'd probably fallen in with those games, if I picked up a copy of Transport Tycoon rather than Football Manager or Championship Manager, I might have got more into those. I've always liked the idea of the SimCity type games and building and constructing. Because you do the same with the football team. I just do it with the football team rather than a city or infrastructure or a theme park or whatever, or Jurassic Park. Whenever it was at the Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, I tried doing that as well, and got bored after that for about an hour or so. I was like, where are the dinosaurs? Just building fences here. Where are the dinosaurs? Don't put a dinosaur in here. Come on. So I don't know.
It's probably something to do with I've got a slight OCD, I think, but I like things exactly how I want them, and so I've got to have weird things. Volume controls have got to be on even numbers. I don't like odd numbers. But it wasn't until I had children that I realised that CDs and DVDs didn't have to be in their correct cases, or even in a case, and nothing had to be in alphabetical order anymore. So it's like, okay, I've given up with that now.
I can't have that. Mind you, I've been said that. Well, I've got one side of the room, or two sides of the room, which have got alphabetical order games, and the other side of the room just got a mixture of both. I'm sure some people just come in and start changing everything around, but
I was trying to find a Blu-ray, and I opened the box and go, "That's the wrong thing." No, I'll chase that to the right box. No, that's a different one. It'll be 5 boxes until I find what I want. So
I always used to do that when I was younger. I've taken CDs out and put them in the wrong boxes, and then you hang on a second, where's that gone to? But I couldn't do that now. I couldn't do that now.
Every CD had to be in alphabetical order by artist and then by release of the album. But it's like having kids now, you just give up with that. It's never going to happen.
It's where it is. That's it. It stays there. So yeah.
That's why the new games room's got a lock on it.
Keep them out of there. You can only come in here if you put them back where it came from.
Well, I've called it my panic room because it's going to be soundproofed as well, so I can't hear people outside the door shouting in.
Oh right, okay. Is that deliberate?
It was more that no one could hear me playing games loudly, but it was a good side effect that I now can't hear people screaming outside in.
Mind you, I like the idea you can sit there and turn the volume up and blast yourself away. That's
yeah.
That's good. That
I've tried it with one of those generic Amazon speakers, so I won't say the name because I'll set everyone's off. I've had that full volume in there and shut the door louder than I'd ever cope with it in there, and you can't hear it outside.
Wow, that's great. I'd be tempted to do something like that.
Well, you've done that with white gold behind you.
Yes, that's very true. Well, it's not soundproof, and it's insulation. Like it's I guess put some egg boxes to the wall or something like that. See if that works. I don't know, the old-fashioned way. We'll come back to the rest of your favourite 6 games to take with you shortly. Let's go back to your gaming history, because we've already touched on this one briefly when we finished the last conversation about it.
So in '92, when I was 18, I moved to Australia with my girlfriend at the time. And so I sold my Mega Drive collection to fund that. And when I got to Australia, I bought the Super Nintendo.
Must have been a really exciting time in your life, 18 years old and moving to Australia with your girlfriend.
It was a very scary time. Exciting and scary.
Was there? Is it just you wanted to go out there? Was a job offer or?
Well, my girlfriend's parents at the time had applied to emigrate. And so she was part of that at the time. And so I went out with them and went out on a marriage visa, got married out there.
Oh, right.
18.
Yeah. Good. Because a friend of mine, he moved to Australia probably 2005, I think. He met an Australian girl over here, and she wanted to start a family. She didn't want to raise a family in the UK. Not quite sure why, but so he went, emigrated to Australia, and we've seen him a few times, come back a few times since then, but he's everything's worked out nicely for him over there. But I mean, he would have been 30 when he did that. I mean, you're 18 years old.
Yeah, I was
living the dream, possibly.
Well, scared, absolutely petrified. Because when I arrived, my girlfriend had to go to work the next day because she'd already gone out a couple of months before me, and so I slept off the jet lag, went for a walk, and I thought, apart from my girlfriend's family, I don't know anyone for thousands of miles. I was scared. I said I wouldn't swear, but yeah, that did scare the living shit out of me at the time.
No, I can imagine that. I can imagine any sort of change. It's like when I went to college, university, that was just going to a completely different part of the country with people that you didn't know. Because when I went to do my university course, nobody else from my college was going with me. It was just me. I'm going to Sheffield. Don't know anybody there at all. I've got no family up there. I'm probably about 100 miles away from home. You're thousands of miles away from home, but it's like, what am I going to do, sort of thing? What, you know, am I going to meet people? I'm going to make friends.
Yeah, it's proper scared.
That's why you bought the Super Nintendo, then, I'm guessing.
Well, it was that. I was envious of the Super Nintendo, I've got to admit. And being that far away, my brother didn't need to know that I had a Super Nintendo. So he didn't need to know I admitted he was right. So
yeah, did he know afterwards?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've told him. Yeah, he's not going to listen to this and go, hang on a second, I didn't realise that. I'm going to have to go and
well, I never
buy a Mega Drive now and not tell him about it.
So yeah, I bought that with the bazooka.
Oh, Super Scope.
Yeah, Super Scope, that's right. I just slipped my mind what it's called then. Yeah, I bought the Super Scope and A Link to the Past and Street Fighter and Mario Kart. And so all the games that we had already, or my brother had, I just went out and bought all those. So.
Was it comparatively cheaper out there, or would you not remember?
I cannot remember.
I'm always interested to find out. Whenever people live abroad or people I know, one of the first things I asked my mate when he came back from Australia the first time. Sorry, we were doing my famous tangents here, but because years and years ago, I used to watch Australian rules football on Channel 4. I used to love a bit of Aussie rules, and there's always been the advert round the outside of these grounds for 4 and 20 pies. So the first thing I asked him about, I said, I was like, "What's the food like out there?" He said, "Oh, it's all right, you know." I said, "Oh, yeah." So have you had a 4 and 20 pie yet? And he sort of looked at me. He said, "How do you know about that?" I said, "I told him." He said, "Ah, right." I said, "Yeah, they're all right." I said, "They're not great." I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm a bit disappointed after all that. So I'm always interested to find these things. Oh, did you try that out when you were over there? Did you have that? And so I'm always interested. You know, is it more expensive? Would it be more expensive to buy a Super Nintendo over there at the time, or?
Yeah, it was all pucker pies when I was over there. So
pucker pies. Oh, that's what you get at chip shops now, isn't it? Pucker ones.
Yeah. No, I honestly can't remember prices, but they did have cash converters out there.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This was early 90s. Early 90s cash converters. I remember. I kicked myself to this day for not picking it up. It was a bootleg, but it was on the Super Nintendo, and it was Street Fighter 3.
Street Fighter 3.
Yes.
Wow.
I knew it was a bootleg at the time, but I'm not going to pick that up. But I would have loved to pick that up, see what it was like. It was probably just a reskin of Street Fighter 2, but.
Oh wow! Yeah, so you come across all sorts of different things out there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Super Nintendo. That was been I can see why that was. Something you picked up straight away when you went out there. Did you keep it for long?
Something in the back of my mind says I bought a Mega Drive as well out there, but I cannot. Something in the back of my mind says I had a Menacer as well, but I can't remember. But
the Mega Drive gun,
yeah. But I kept it for the length of time I lived in Australia, which was 4 years. So
4 years, all right. So where'd you go after that then? Because you had the Super Nintendo. Did you get anything else while you were out there, or did you when you came back you moved on from that one?
I may have had the Mega Drive, and I really cannot remember. That's a long time ago. But so I had the Super Nintendo, obviously the staple games, and I had visited the UK a couple of times and picked up some UK games and taken them back. And I want to say I picked up Zool for some reason.
Gold.
Yeah, I know.
They're remastering that, aren't they?
I know.
I was watching Retro Man Cave. I think he does like a sort of podcast every few episodes. Or Mrs. Bear watches him. It's on the background. I tend to listen. He was talking about that, and it looks completely different to the original game. It's if they've made the graphics smaller to fit more on the screen, and it looks less and less like Zool did anyway. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know, but not a fan of that game.
No, it just looked like one big effort. I thought.
Yeah, it looked like what it was trying. It was trying to be a rival to the big console platformers, because it was on the Amiga originally when it came out, and that was how it was sort of touted. It eventually came out the consoles anyway, but I played that and I thought, if this is what we were going to be sort of touted on the Amiga as a rival to Sonic and Mario, then it's got no chance.
And the other game I remember having, and I bought this big box Metroid.
Oh,
in the UK and took it back to Australia, and I cannot remember what happened to any of those games.
oh man, Metroid. That's Super Metroid. Yeah, that'll be worth quite a few quid nowadays.
Yeah, I probably gave them to my little brother-in-law at the time when we left.
Oh, what happened to them after that? Wow.
Yeah.
Blimey, if you're in Australia and got a box Metroid, Super Metroid, it may have possibly come from you originally. You never know, do you? So
yeah, he came over and visited. I want to say about 10 years ago, and he said, "Oh, you gave me these when you left, and you can have these." And he just all these pogs. Just gave me all these pogs. I had a full set of pogs.
Oh right.
I don't know what I'm going to do with these. But yeah.
Just sod the pogs. Where's me in box Metroid?
Yeah, where's the Nintendo cardboard?
Yeah. You've come all this way and you haven't brought it with you. Oh dear. Pogs, that's another one as well.
Oh, yeah.
Pogs and Tazos. Remember Tazos?
Yeah, I never found out Tazos, but the Pogs I used to buy all the time. They don't really have car boot sales out there, but there was one place that was sort of a market and a car boot sale. They normally do yard sales, but there was this one place, and I used to go there every week, buy a load of Pogs until I got a full set. I had all the little clear wallets to slide them all in, so they're all in a folder as well.
I've never seen the appeal of that at all. I just never got it. It's like trading cards. I just don't see the reason I stopped going to memorabilia events. There used to be one at the NEC every year, and I stopped going after about 3 or 4 years of continuously going. It used to be 2 or 3 years. I used to go with them all the time, and I stopped going because over the years it moved away from sort of general memorabilia into every other stand was selling trading cards, Yu-Gi-Oh and all that stuff. And I'm like, what on earth is this stuff? Because when I first started going, people were selling VHS, people were selling old games. I wasn't collecting games at the time, but they're doing things like that. People were selling import region 1 DVDs, autograph stuff, and you were meeting celebrities. And it just over time, it sort of moved on from that. And it was every other store was just trading card, racks and racks of trading cards. Like,
trading cards was big over there. I'd never heard of the Pokemon, but it was all basketball cards and Aussie Rules football cards. And I tried getting into Aussie Rules. I could never fathom out the scoring.
What?
How
Seriously?
Each team ends up with 3 scores, and adding them together doesn't make any difference.
You've got the goal, which is worth 6 points. You've got the behinds, which are worth 1 point. And then you add the 2 together, and that gives you an overall total. So they always say, I know Essendon scored 15-75.
Oh, okay.
That's how it works out. I used to watch. Used to love the umpires used to come on, and every time somebody scored a goal, they go like that with their hands, or just the one for that. And I used to love watching that. It's great sport.
So I was living there and nearly, because we weren't planning on coming back, and nearly signed up to be a member of Fremantle Dockers, because they just started up as I was there.
Oh yeah.
So they were our local team, or West Coast Eagles.
So you were out by Perth then?
Yes, yeah.
So again, being the sports enthusiast that I am, I know that when the test matches are played at the Wacker, which would be Perth for anybody who's not what I'm talking about. It's the cricket ground in Perth where they play all the big test matches and one-day internationals. They always talk about the wind that comes in off the sea. The
Fremantle Docker.
The Fremantle Doctor. So that's how I know. When you said that, I thought, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, about 2 o'clock, the wind changes, comes off the sea and cools everything down. It's just welcome to
That's it. And Perth is always the one place where the test match, for some reason, always start 2 hours later than everywhere else. So if you're following the Ashes or any overseas cricket in Australia, usually the start time is midnight, but Perth is always 2 hours later. So you used to be able to at least go to work listening to the Perth Test match on the radio as opposed to.
That's really where I got into watching cricket. So only one day, as I can't watch.
You can't watch the Test.
So not yet, but yeah. The good thing they used to do is they used to say if you want to come along and catch the end of the Test after work, then it's going to be $2 entry, and you just watch the end of the day.
That's a good way of doing it. They used to do it over here. They used to last day of the Test match. It used to be free for under 16s and what have you. They stopped doing that now because, well, one, Test matches don't go 5 days, and two, they can still make money off it. For example, yesterday we talked about the England-India second Test match, just for reference. That went all the way to was it 6:15, 6:30 last night before they finished it. So, I'm guessing that you were probably. Were you out there during? Oh, massive tangent. Sorry, folks. I've got to ask this question because he was out there. Were you out there during the 86-87 tour when England came over? They won the Ashes, retained the Ashes, and they won the Perth Challenge and the World Series Cup.
I went out 92 to 96.
92 to 96. Oh, of course you would have done. Yes, that's right. Sorry, I'll get my time. Sorry. Yeah, so you'd have been out there 92, 96. They would have been out there 93, 94. That was it. Yeah.
Going on another tangent, if you've read Bill Bryson's book about Australia,
I haven't. But
he talks about someone had let off a nuclear bomb out in the desert test, and we were all told it was a meteor that had crashed, and it was years later it came out that someone tested it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's yeah.
It was the same time that the French were testing their nuclear weapons just off the coast on an atoll that they owned.
That's right. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. There was quite a lot in the news about
outcry across the world then.
Yeah. Don't do it on your own doorstep. Do it on
go across the other side of the world and do it. There'd be a lot of people who would sort of imply that if they did it in their own country, it wouldn't really make a lot of difference. But anyway, sorry, we must come back from our tangent. We were talking about Super Nintendo, so let's move on from there. Let's talk about the next one on your list, because you obviously we've got a couple of systems to talk through. There's something else you get into shortly after this time as well, isn't there? So
yes, so we came back in 1996, and I was on the plane flying back to the UK, and I was talking to a few English people on the plane, and they said, "Oh, you flying back for Euro 96?" And I went, "What's Euro 96?" Completely had missed anything that was going on football-wise.
And not big out there, was it? Football, I suppose, at the time.
Soccer.
Sorry.
I would have to get highlights on a Monday night on the Premier League. Oh, is it Premier League then?
Premier League would have been around that time. Yeah. Yes.
So I arrived 2 days before Euro 96 started. So spent the whole of Euro 96, every single game in the pub, and do not remember a lot.
To be honest, it's one of those. I think we decided at the time, because we were quite into our football anyway, that going to the pub to watch football with like tons of other people just wouldn't be a great idea, because a lot of the pubs we knew were fairly sort of small, and if you got people in there, I remember before, I can't remember what it was now. I think it was probably before Euro 96. We were out there one night, and somebody mentioned, "Oh, England are playing a friendly against Nigeria tonight, aren't they?" So I'll go to the pub and watch it. And I said, "No one's going to be at the pub watching that game. We'll be able to get in." We got to the pub outside 10 minutes into the game, and it was actually heaving full of people. I thought, there's a load of people come to watch a friendly against Nigeria. I'm not going to go and stand for 2 hours watching a game of football. So I just remember pretty much all that tournament. Sat at home watching most of it. But when he got to Euro 2000, I had a very, very, very exciting. We had one of the quarterfinals day. 2 games in the afternoon. One at 5 o'clock, one at 8 o'clock. I was still living at home at the time, and me and my mate said, "We'll go and watch the first game." And by the end of the first game, we were absolutely smashed. So I sort of phoned my mum and said, "I ain't coming home for tea." then we stayed and watched the second game, and we're absolutely plastered by the end of it. It was
every single game I'd go in for all 3 games. So get into the pub early and watch all 3 games all day, and I'd be absolutely hammered every day. But it was a great time. But I didn't save any money and didn't even look remotely for a job.
Well, you're not going to. It's football, on the telly. It's not every day the major football competition lands on these shores, is it? Really?
No. But yeah, that was an amazing time. So somewhere in the middle of that, I did have an N64, and I cannot remember for the life of me when I bought that. I can remember a handful of games, and I don't know what happened to it after that. But
it's a pattern developing here throughout this. I had all these systems, but at some point I don't have them anymore. I don't know how I got rid of them.
No, I've no idea what happened to that. Why did you
go for an N64 then? Was it just because it was Nintendo, or was it a new thing that was out at the time?
I think it was Mario 64, and things sort of came together, and it was just the next Nintendo console. I didn't really think anything more of it, and just to compete with my brother, he'd moved on to PlayStation. So
I was going to say that because your brother brought a PlayStation 1. That you're going to go and get that instead. Do you like the N64? Because I know some people have an intense hatred for it.
I don't hate it. No, I can't say I've got a lot of nostalgia for it because I don't remember a lot of it. For whatever reason, I don't remember playing many games on that at all. That might be because I was spending all my money on beer, and
that's true.
Just had a handful of games, and that was it. And then you're never home to play them anyway. So,
yeah, I like it. I think it's apart from the controller, but
I did hear you in the last one saying about the controller. I don't mind the controller. What scares me is playing anything that's going to break the joystick. So any Mario parties, you don't want to play with those joysticks.
You always feel that you don't want to press it too hard, as you said, just in case something happens. Having said that, having been threatened by a man at finger point wearing a chicken mask, telling me how to hold the controller, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to episode 10. Then I can fully see the reason that I need to probably go back and play some of these games again, holding the controller in a slightly different fashion. But anyway, you live and learn, don't you, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just very gentle with them now because I don't want to break it.
No. I've got quite a few of these controllers. I've got quite a few. I've got about 3 N64s. I've got quite a few controllers, and it's a bit flimsy. It's a bit. You don't want to give it too much pressure. And as you said, if you get a game where you're going to need to be a bit physical with it.
I remember buying the different coloured controllers. So I thought 4 players, I have 4 different coloured controllers. But apart from that, I don't remember a lot about it. I remember having Mario 64. I didn't even have GoldenEye. GoldenEye completely missed me.
Oh right, okay. So yeah, I take you've played it since.
Yeah, but I don't have the nostalgia for it that everyone else does. So because they were all playing it at uni and stuff like that against friends, I never really played it multiplayer, and it's just it doesn't age particularly well graphics wise now.
No, it does look a bit rough around the edges now. Mind you, a lot of games in the era do now. So.
Oh yeah, but trying to go back to playing that now is just not. I've got no nostalgia for it, so
the appeal isn't there, is it? So you're not going to get. A lot of us get. I don't get lost nostalgia for it, but I appreciate the single player mode because I enjoy that side of it. I'm not interested in the multiplayer aspect. I was more interested in actually sitting down and letting someone let me play the single player mode for a bit. They never did. So when I got a cartridge years later, I was like, right, that's the first thing I'm going to do. I didn't bother play interested in multiplayer or anything like that. I just want to sit down and play single player. And I really enjoyed it. I thought, yeah, this is great. I've got nostalgia for that game for a completely different reason. It's like Mario 64. I never played Mario 64. People showed me how to play Mario 64, but I never actually played it. So when I first got my N64, one of the first games I got was Mario 64. I was like, yeah, actually, I'm really enjoying this. I wish I'd been a chance to play it 20 years previously.
Yeah. So yeah, that completely missed me, really.
So where did we go after that one?
So obviously got a job and started earning money, and as we talked about earlier, my brother had a PC and said about this PC game, this Ashron's cool, and so I started playing that. I'd moved in with my wife and our 2 children, and every night when I come home from work, she's watching Corrie and Enders, and I'm playing that. Probably never talked for years on end.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Because I used to do this. So my football games, just come in and first thing in the morning, play that, then go to work, then come back and then sit down for a few hours in the evening. And when Mrs. Bear got into playing Call of Duty and things like that, it was the other way around. She'd spend hours. I'd be saying they sat in the same room, but she'd be playing that and be on the headset, or if I was sitting there with the football manager, completely engrossed in watching the game. And yeah, it's how it is. Yeah.
So not to go on a down point, I'm just going to gloss over quite quickly. Marriage didn't last much longer after that.
Right.
And I put that as one of the reasons, maybe. So yeah. So I moved back home to my parents' house, but that's not fun at all.
No, I could imagine that wouldn't be very fun. No.
Well, where are you going out? Who are you going with? How long are you going to be out? I'm a grown man. Why are you asking these questions?
Yeah, I used to get that as well. And when you because I've been away at university, come back in, and you'd always get the question, "Where are you going out? Are you going out with tonight? What are you doing tonight?" And when I got a job, "Are you going out again tonight? Are you going out again? Are you going out again? Why are you going out with so and so?" I'm going out with Andrea tonight. Go drinking 3-4 nights a week, and yeah, you can't wait to get out eventually. Enjoyed this freedom for three or 4 years now, and I'm now living back at home, and I'm just using it as somewhere where I sleep and eat. That's what it was.
So anyway, obviously I'd taken my PC with me, and I was playing Ashron's Call non-stop there. But the next console to come out, which was the GameCube. I can't remember which order I got these next 2 consoles in, but I want to say the GameCube, and I want to say I paid about £80 for it, new, and I think it came with Ace Golf.
Right.
Disney's Dinosaur, which was bad.
Yeah, the film wasn't great either, if I remember.
Was it Disney's Dinosaur?
Yeah.
It might have been Disney. Yeah, not good.
No, it's not good at all. Was that wouldn't have been that would have been towards the end of its life then, wouldn't it?
Quite possibly, yeah, because £80 seems cheap.
Because it's the only console I bought on day release, but I know when they decided it wasn't working, they just started knocking them out, reducing the price. I think it ended up at £50. I think that's about as low as it went. The last lot they had was a place like Curry's and Dixon's were knocking them out at £50 each. But I know there was a big slide from, I can't even remember what it cost when it first came out. It must have been a couple £100, I would have thought. Or maybe not as much as that.
It could have been towards the end of its life, because this other console I got was definitely around the 2000 mark. I picked it up. So, and the other console was a PlayStation 2. So I had GameCube and PlayStation 2 at the same time.
Wow. What do you think of the GameCube?
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always regretted getting rid of that when I did. I think it's a lovely little system. It did exactly what you wanted to do: play games. Forget the fact that the Xbox and the PlayStation 2 could do DVD and media. This was just designed as a pure gaming machine, which is what Nintendo were good at, and it just didn't have the releases that appealed to me to start with. So I bought one and then got locked into it, and just got less and less impressed by some of the games that came out, and eventually got tired of waiting and traded it in. But I like it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to gloss over one of the games for now because it's in my list. But used to play that non-stop, the Mario games and stuff. The PlayStation 2, I had the more serious games on it. So your Gran Turismos, your Grand Theft Autos and things like that. But the fun games, you'd always go back to the GameCube for, and that was brilliant. But I mean, they both took a back seat to the PC at the time. So whether it was Transport Tycoon, downloading illegal movies, or playing Ashron's Call.
Yes, that takes you back, downloading illegal movies. That was in early 2000s when we first got into doing that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had said the GameCube at the time. I got PlayStation 2 a few years afterwards, towards the end of its. I say not towards the end of its. Probably about 2005. I think I got one. But I never got on with it. I always got PlayStation 1 was always preferable for me.
I remember having FIFA 2003 for it. Got that new. I wasn't going out and buying every FIFA then. It's just I needed a FIFA in the rotation. So I thought that was amazing, FIFA 2003, because it had licensed music on it as well. But
it's good, but I don't. Of the three of that era, I probably have the less interest in the PlayStation 2. I know it's because I got it later, because I bought the GameCube, then I traded the GameCube in for an Xbox, and then afterward I bought a PlayStation 2. So I'm not sure whether it's because it was so late. I don't know, but I've never favoured that system over the other two.
The bonus to the PlayStation 2, that was my first DVD player.
Well, that was the other thing about it. That's talk about PlayStation 3. The whole benefit of getting a PlayStation 3 when we eventually did get one, it's got a Blu-ray player in there. And they were at the time were about £150, £200 on their own. So if you're paying £300 for a console, you got a £200 piece of kit in there. And I thought, that's all right, I love that. And when I had the Xbox, I had the adapter so I could do the DVD. You had to buy an adapter for the Xbox as well.
I had that for the PlayStation 2. So, but I remember getting this thinking, I can play DVDs now. I need to go and buy a DVD, and went straight down to Comet, which was the nearest shop that had them. I was just basically doing it on cover art again, and it was the choice between Perfect Dark with Vin Diesel, because I thought I want something spacey and sci-fi.
Oh, Pitch Black, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
Perfect Dark.
Yeah, Pitch Black with Vin Diesel, or Red Planet with Val Kilmer.
And you went for Red Planet.
Yeah.
Oh, swing and a miss.
Yeah, I've still got that today as well, just to remind me.
I was fascinated by DVD when it came out because all the extras you could have on them.
Oh yeah.
You see commentaries, and one of the first ones I bought was Blazing Saddles. Because what I used to do, I was a massive film nut years and years ago, so it didn't make any difference whether I'd seen the film or not, or whatever. If the review was good for it, it was earmarked as a classic or it's a film you need to watch. I would just go out and buy that film based on that. So I hadn't actually seen Blazing Saddles at this point. Probably talking, my first DVD player was probably around about 2000, something like that, 2001 maybe. My mum got it for me for my birthday, so my mum was still alive. Mum died in 2002, so it was around about that time. And I thought he's got some commentary, so I listened to the commentary. And of course, you expect to hear a commentary. You hear the commentary, but the film's playing at the same time. So I thought, I don't know, why is the film playing? The film should be playing, and didn't seem quite right. But the wealth of stuff they could put on there, I was absolutely fascinated by it. And they got things like director's cut and special edition, and you find years later that don't buy anything with the word special edition on, because it's not special edition, it's just mass produced. All those people bought Spider-Man special edition, and there's been 85 million copies pressed of this particular DVD. Nothing special about it at all. It's just a regular DVD release on two things. But I was absolutely obsessed by it, and I'd buy films I'd never even seen before. I'd never seen The Shining. I bought The Shining. I hate horror films, but I bought The Shining on DVD. Loved it.
I've never seen The Shining. Never got around to it. So.
But when I say I don't like the blood and guts horror films, this was more psychological horror. So
like Hitchcock stuff.
Yeah, that's the sort of Kubrick film. But yeah, I used to just buy racks of DVDs and just buy Region 1 DVDs at one point, because you can get them a lot quicker than waiting for a Region a DVD release over here. So you probably get the Region 1 release come out around about the time the film was just coming out of the cinema. They've been in the cinema for a few weeks, come out. You can get the Region 1 release pretty much sort of straight after that. So anyway, we're off tangenting again.
Well, and the good thing with DVDs, I put a DVD writer in my PC, and all of a sudden I could sell copies to my friends.
They'll pay for those GameCube games somehow, haven't you?
Yeah.
Oh, those were the days, eh?
Oh, those were the days. You're just buying stacks of blank DVDs, start writing stuff off. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've all been there, mate. I'm not going to disagree and argue with that one. No, we've all done that. That's yeah, we're all doing that.
They must know when they're delivering it to a home address that it's not for business purposes, and it's just.
Well, yeah, I used to. When I do me wrestling VHS up onto doing exactly the same thing. I wasn't selling them; I was just making them for myself. But I was doing all the covers, the printed covers, and the printed discs, and keeping a nice little collection until I realised that it'd be much easier just to actually just rip them to a computer file. I can save them on hard drive then.
Actually, reminds me back before I'd moved out, back in the times of VHS, and my dad had put an aerial splitter into the attic so he could split the signal from the aerial to all the different bedrooms and stuff. And I'd figured out that I could play a video downstairs and watch it in the TV upstairs.
Oh yeah.
And then record it on my video recorder. And now I've got a copy on video I can then sell to someone else.
Oh, that's things people used to get up to. Yeah.
So I used to go to Blockbuster, hire out the latest movie, copy it, and then sell that on. Yeah.
You've done very well out of that. Is that paying for that new games room they haven't built? Is it? So all the money you made from that, invested over the years, not going to build a games room from that.
Having 4 kids has taken more than enough money out of me. So. Yeah.
I'm surprised you've had time to play games, to be honest. You've got 4 kids, mate.
They get more expensive as they get older.
As do the games.
And it doesn't stop when they move out either.
We got a little more of gaming history to come, but let's jump back to your 6-game Desert Island selection. We've done 3 so far. Let's move on to your next one, because this one's come up quite a bit, so it's not going to be a surprise. This one is cropped up on your list.
So anyone that disagrees with me is wrong.
Al,
especially Al, yes. And that is Breath of the Wild on the Switch.
Yep. This is a game which people invest time in and love it, or can't invest time in it like me, or just can't get on with it, like the aforementioned YouTuber that we know.
Yeah.
So why is it on your list?
It's one of the only games that I've completed that I want to go back and play again. I enjoyed it.
How many hours did you take to complete it?
I didn't do it very linear. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I did do side quests and stuff. So I put about 300 odd hours into that.
300 hours. That's what, about 13 days worth. Near enough. 13 straight days, 24 hours of play.
That was from release day as well. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah, 2 games on release day. 1, 2 Switch. That lasted about 5 minutes. Went, yeah, that's rubbish.
Easy one to get into. And lose yourself in.
I've listened. There's a few people that don't like it and say there's so many areas where there's nothing to do, and within the first 5 minutes of playing, essentially you start on a plateau, which is the tutorial, shows you the mechanics of the game and teaches you how to do it, and then you leave the plateau, and then the game starts. So first of all, I wandered off to where I wanted to go, and there wasn't a lot to do, and then I suddenly tweaked. There's a path. It meanders, but it's going the way I want. Rather than going as the crow flies across a field, if I take the path, then there's things to see off the path, and there's monsters and things to do. And if you just shoot across a field, then you're not going to see much. You might run into something occasionally, but yeah, I think that's how I played it and just followed the paths. And so, yeah, you'll see a ruins, and you go and search around the ruins, and you'll find a rusty sword or something, or then there'll be a little note to go and do a little side quest or things like that. But yeah, I absolutely enjoyed that game. That so much so that I want to go back and play it again. I just don't have the time to go back and play it again because I've got such a gaming backlog at the moment.
Is this on the list because it's so immersive, or is it in terms of Zelda games the best Zelda game you played, or?
It's definitely in my top 2 Zelda games. I'd say Link to the Past is up there. Oh, top 3. I did think it was top 3. I couldn't think of the third one. Yeah, top 3, but the other 2 I could complete in a day.
So this is the
So the other 2 I'd put up there is A Link to the Past and Link's Awakening.
right. So yeah, so you get it one day compared to 300 hours.
Yes, I mean, in 300 hours, there's still stuff I've got to do that I haven't. I've completed the story. I've completed most of the side missions, but there's still some to do. There's seeds you can collect. There's 900 of them in the world. I'm about 450, and it just got to the point of this is a bit grindy now. I'm not interested. I'm not having fun doing that, so I stopped doing that.
That's the great beauty of the games like that. Like you said, grinding is. Some people love doing that. Some people don't. I personally don't. I just want to. When I first started playing games, you just wanted to get to finish the game as quickly as best you can, and not worry about experience everything that went on with it. Probably because games were slightly different back then. You didn't need to see everything to complete something, whereas now, 300 hours, you're probably talking maybe another 150 hours, 200 hours, maybe something like that, which if you carried on going down that route, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it does map out where you've been on the map, and it will give a percentage of the map you've seen. And so I haven't seen 100% of the map.
No. Are you anywhere near it, or?
I think I'm in the 80s. I mean, you've got to go around every square inch of that place. But
so if you say 300 hours, 80%. I'm not calculating.
That's a full complete of the story.
Yeah.
And the DLC. So I bought all the DLC and completed that as well. So.
Okay.
There's 120 shrines or mini dungeons. Done all those. You don't have to do them all for the story, but I've done all those as well. So there's not a lot more to do, but there's probably another 100 hours.
Yeah. That'd be about right, wouldn't it? So yeah, the mountains to explore, and people just go around, spend hours walking up mountains and just seeing if there's anything up there.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. You get up there and go, oh, there's this. Or...
Yeah, I don't know. Unless I've got there for a particular reason, I'm not going to be going up there. But that's me.
Yeah, it's a bit of the exploration. So, and again, it's a game you could do whatever you wanted. Yes, there is a story that you need to follow, but you don't have to. You could do it in any order you like and do your own thing.
That's right. Yeah, it's not, you said not linear. My issue is I tend to come from the background of growing up playing games where it was very much a badge of honor if you completed something. You know, have you completed this one yet? No, I've only got so far with it. Whereas now I think it's more, as you say, more the point of, it's not the case of have you completed it, it's how much of the game have you seen, or experienced, and what have you got? Have you experienced everything? Have you got all the achievements, the rewards? It's not just going from point A to point B. There's a lot more to it now, and I haven't got the patience to go wandering off into fields and mountains and
I can't remember which tuber said it. I want to say it was Pete Fire, but it might not have been. That they just play a game until they don't enjoy it, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll complete it till the story's complete. If I'm enjoying it, I'll do side quests. If I'm not, that's it. I'll stop.
Yeah, I think that's probably a very good assessment. It sounds like something Pete might say.
Yeah, it does. So
it does. It is very Pete. Yeah, I play it. I'm bored with it. Yeah, that's very much him. Well, yeah. So this game's come up on people's favourite game. It's come up on their game to spend more time with. It's come on people's hated game. So I think we've ticked all the boxes on this one. Are you going to be getting the second one when it comes out?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
without shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
probably on release day if I can.
Do we know? Have they announced that yet at all? Or
no. I mean,
it's got delayed because of the pandemic, I think, didn't it?
That's an easy excuse to hide behind, but yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of games that have been delayed. It's an easy scapegoat to use. I mean, it's probably the case, but yeah, I think they wanted to release it at the end of this year, but it's going to probably bump over into next year. And I think that's what they've said it's going to be next year. It
didn't harm Animal Crossing, did it?
No.
It didn't. That was probably the perfect game for the pandemic, really, wasn't it? I mean, it's. But anyway, I thought, Breath of the Wild if people have had that opportunity to have time on their hands, that's the sort of game that.
Now, Animal Crossing nearly made it on my dislike list. It's a close second.
Did it really? Oh, I never had any dislike Animal Crossing before. We'll have to do another one in the future. We'll have to call it like, I don't know, moon-based games or something where we send you to the moon. Come on, do another one.
It was just. I remember getting it on the Wii, playing it non-stop, thinking this is amazing, and then one day working out, and I'm picking up weeds and I'm fishing. I'm not doing anything in real life. Why am I not weeding my garden? Why am I not going out doing real fishing? Why am I doing housework when I could be doing real housework?
Yeah, but if you're like me, Steve, you'll be sort of sitting there thinking, I'd much rather be doing it this way than actually going outside and doing some weeding in the garden.
Yeah,
because I'm a lazy bugger at the end of the day. Anyway, I hate doing stuff like that. But I probably would sit down and quite happily do that on Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely steered clear of the Switch one for that reason, that I knew I'd get suckered into playing it and listening to people that played it. Oh, yeah, I've done that. And even people I worked with that bought it and said, I've had to get up early this morning, I've had to do my weeding, bell prices of this. And I think, man, this is taking over your life. Stop it. I've had to ask my husband to log in because the bell prices of this, we need to trade in now. And so, what?
I love that. That's brilliant.
That seems madness. So I was like, no, I'm definitely not even going to buy that. I'm waiting till all the hype's gone down and they're no longer updating it, and then I might pick it up and just put it on the shelf.
I could sort of imagine the response if I sent Mrs. Bear a text saying, "You've got to log on to Animal Crossing now because the price of this is beginning to drop," and I just imagine the response I'm going to get, which is I'll give you the visual interpretation of what the response is going to come back as. It involves one finger pointing straight upwards, probably. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, it's a game we talked about the death on this program, so nothing more can be said really about that one.
No.
I'm interested to talk about the next one though, because I don't know much about this one at all. This one goes back to your Super Nintendo days.
So, knowing that I'm in rivalry with my brother, and I had bought a Super Nintendo, he had The Secret of Mana. Very good game on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't going to copy him. I had to buy something different, so I bought Illusion of Time. Now, I'm going to get this the wrong way round, but I believe Secret of Mana was made by Squaresoft, and Illusion of Time was by Enix before they merged, or it was the other way around.
Yep, I can't shed any light on that one. So
it's graphically very similar sort of style. Illusion of Time's more time travel and going around to monuments around the world to I want to say pick up memories to whatever the end goal was. I can't remember now. But yeah, I like the look of Secret of Mana, and still love the look of Secret of Mana, and I've played the newer versions, but I couldn't have the same sim, so I'd have something completely different.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
And for our American friends, it's called Illusion of Gaia.
I've got no recollection of this game at all. You mentioned Secret of Mana. The only time I again ever came close to Secret of Mana, I'm pretty sure I was in a game store in Birmingham, the high street chain game. She's going back again probably 10 plus years, and I bought a copy of Conquer Live and Reloaded on the Xbox for $4.99, and I'm pretty sure they had a copy of Secret of Mana right next to it. I think it was in the box as well. It wasn't a pristine box; it was a bit battered. I think it was like 20 quid. And I thought, I'm never going to play it. I'd more like to play Conquer than I'd like to play Secret of Mana, which is probably very true. But
it did get remastered on PlayStation.
But this was a Super Nintendo original. This was so. I probably should have picked that up. Really, know what I know now. But so what was the attraction of Illusion of Time then?
I'm a great RPG fan, so a lot of the games I play are RPGs or love playing. So it was just another RPG that was different to Secret of Mana. I already had Link to the Past, obviously. So that was the next one really to buy for me. And it was based off box art graphics on the back. It was like, this is very much like Secret of Mana by the looks of things. I'll buy this. Completely missed Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, so I'm struggling. So I don't know anything about this one, mate. So I'm really sort of struggling to add anything to this one. I mean, in terms of RPGs, where does it sort of stand on sort of recommendations for people? But I mean, it's not a genre I know an awful lot about. I'm going to be honest with you. So things like Final Fantasy just aren't my cup of tea.
It's not a patch on Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana is better, but this one had the nostalgia for me that I wanted to go back and play it again. So
yeah,
it's just the 16-bit graphic style RPG, really. Just something different to my brother that I wanted to play, and I just had the nostalgia to go back and do it. I mean, I'm not a turn-based fan. This is turn-based, but it was. I'm not against it, but given the choice, I wouldn't choose turn-based RPGs. I've not having a PlayStation, I completely missed Final Fantasy VII, and I've recently downloaded that on Switch now, but I haven't got around to playing it yet. Just to see what the hype was about on Final Fantasy VII. That's why. Just wanted to.
Yeah, I've always been curious about it. I've never actually to play it. So what's the point in even thinking about being curious about it? I'm just not. Never going to get anywhere near finishing to see what's going on, what the story.
Yeah, I think my brother played for it. He absolutely loves it. I've heard other tubers talk about it, saying they absolutely love Final Fantasy VII. I think it was on the Nintendo eShop for £7, and obviously when you register your Nintendo games, you get gold coins, don't you, that you can spend on the eShop. Yes. So I got it for free basically. So
I'd like the physical copy though. I think I'd like to own the PlayStation original on that one.
I did buy that a couple of years ago for my son because he's starting to collect PlayStation. So these are some staple titles that you need.
do you own Illusion of Time, or?
Yes.
You got a good copy of it down there.
I've got it boxed with the map, not the manual. So I'm still looking for a manual that's a price I'm willing to pay. I think manuals are going for £20 at the moment. I'm not willing to pay it.
What's the game go for?
I daren't look again, but I think I got mine. I think I was quite lucky and got mine for about £40.
Okay, so
I'd have grabbed it because it had the map, because most copies haven't got the map. So I thought I'll pick up a manual quite easily. And no, they're available, but not at a price I'm willing to pay yet.
No, that's well, as we said earlier, wasn't it? You pay what you're prepared to pay for something, and it's always a shame when you get a box, complete with, and you find you're still missing something from it, or you find out I've got the instructions, there's a map to go with it. So and people throw these things away, and
I've never seen a map come up on eBay. I've just seen the manuals come up, so I'm quite happy I've done it that way around. But
I was going to say that sounds like it's quite a good thing to have them, really, because you may probably be searching for a map for an awful long time if you haven't got one. Okay, let's move on that one. Sorry, I can't add any more to that because it's just not a game I know a huge amount about. So, but sure, a lot of people out there will know about that one. The last game on your list, then, we didn't deliberately talk about this one earlier because you said you didn't want to mention it. It's a long-running game series, this one as well, so most people are very, very familiar with it.
So this is assuming that I can find some natives to play with on this desert island.
There might be some monkeys, or
you didn't say it was a deserted island. You just said it was a desert island, so there might have been some natives I was hoping for.
They're mostly deserted. We tend to check these things out first to make sure there's nobody there, so you're on your own. we can give you an internet connection to the outside world, but that's all we're going to do.
Okay. So this was Mario Party 5 for the GameCube.
Yep. For the GameCube, yeah. Why this particular version? Because obviously there are countless versions of this.
There's 4 on the GameCube. So 6 and 7, I got the microphone, and I didn't really like the mini games with the microphone, so I binned those off. I mean, the game's still brilliant, but and 4 was very good, but 5 was obviously better than 4, so I just went for 5 out. And really, this was at a time where, going back to my gaming history, I had a GameCube. Obviously, I had my new girlfriend at the time. And because the GameCube's very portable, we used to take this around friends' houses, 4 controllers, Mario Party, turn it on to 50 turns. We've all got drinks, and we spend the evening drinking, eating pizza, and just playing Mario Party 5. Or 4, or 6 and 7 we used to play. So,
yeah.
You just pull all-nighter, playing games, drinking beer, eating pizza. It was just great fun. It was a great time.
You can't ask much more than that, can you, really? It's best to share the gaming experience between so many of you with friends, and you make nights and into the night with it, and all sitting around playing it. It's great fun, and this is the right sort of game to have like that, isn't it? It's just... I like that. I like some of the mini games. I don't mind the mini games as much, but
No.
some of them are not so good. But just the perfect party game, isn't it? It's exactly what the title, Mario Party. It's
yeah, I think after the GameCube, they started messing with the mechanics, and it just sort of started to lose its way a bit with the Wii and the Switch. So that's why I went with the GameCube versions, and it just brought back so many good memories of just playing that with friends. And I suppose listening back to other podcasts where people said GoldenEye, playing that at uni with friends, and that harks back to those times where it's just...
This is your GoldenEye as such, I suppose, really, isn't it?
I assume it is, yeah. I mean, it's... My children obviously were living with their mother at the time, so we were with friends, and none of us had children, so we could all sort of enjoy this and have some beers and pizza and play games non-stop, and it was just... there was no care in the world, really. So it was obviously a cheap night in as well. So
it's not a cheap game to pick up this either, is it?
It's cheaper than 6 and 7. Now,
I
I had 6 and 7 new, and I really regret getting rid of those with the cardboard box.
Oh, right. Oh, of course. The old Nintendo cardboards we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, you're talking upward of 100 for a boxed one.
I was quite surprised. I at some point in my life, I've picked up Mario Party 5. I can't remember where I got it from. It's like you can't remember where you got rid of stuff from. I can't remember where I got stuff from. And I was just going through my GameCube games the one day, and I realised I've got games like Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Boshing the Giant. Somehow I've managed to pick that up and got that in my collection, and Mario Party 5. And then you throw in Double Dash as well. I'm sort of thinking it's about 150 quid's worth of games here. I bought for a fraction of the price. I can't remember where I got Mario Party 5 from. Because I wasn't buying GameCube bundles at any particular point in time. And just picked up the odd game at Car Boot here and there, but that's where I got mine from. Very, very strange.
Yeah, very strange. I mean, I don't know what happened to the GameCube collection as well.
Yeah.
It may link into my next bit when I get on to it, where it went, but I don't know. I can't be 100% sure. So...
biggest criticism of the Mario Party games is they've got, you say, gradually worse over time. They've tinkered with the Wii.
Yeah, I think they've tinkered it, and it's just... they've tinkered it to try and make it even playing field. So you could be streaks ahead because you've done really well, and then all of a sudden it'll be, oh yeah, we're going to swap everyone's stars around. And it's like, well, I've worked for 50 turns for this, and right at the end of the game, you're going to take it away from me.
But it's like everything. You tinker with something which is a traditional and working format to try and make it a bit better, and it ends up being worse. And you can't understand why would you mess with something like that. And it's like for playing FIFA for years, and then they changed the dimension. They're playing FIFA World Cup 2002, and they put in this like special thing where if you could do a super shot or something. Hang on, that's not FIFA.
That's Mario Strikers.
Yeah, that's it. It's arcade, it's virtuous. Not virtuous cycle. Those sort of things are just not right. It's not FIFA. Why have you done something like that? It's not a football game anymore now. It's Mario Strikers on its own is a very good game, or Mario. Mario Strikers, very very good game. But because it's a Mario game and it's like a cartoony version of football, which is fine. You can set all the power ups, but don't put power ups in FIFA because that just doesn't make any sense. So why tinker with that format? And it's what I don't like about series like that. You got to keep things fresh. I understand that. You have to move sometimes with the times, but if you change things too much, you can't go back to how they were because that boat's gone now. You've already decided I'm going to change it, and then people say I don't like it like that. So you can't go back to how it was before because you changed it for a reason. At which point, then it becomes a bit broken.
Yeah, you just reminded me of another game I had for the N64, which I brought back. So I had ISS 64.
Yes.
Absolutely loved that game. And my friend who had a PlayStation had Actua Soccer. So he used to come around, we'd play ISS at my house, and then I'd go over to his and play Actua Soccer. Well, the thing I hated about Actua Soccer, so he would always play Brazil. He was Brazil every time. I had another mate that would be there. He'd always play Italy, and so I was left with Holland.
Well, that's not bad.
No. I mean, it's probably the third best team in the roster there that you could choose, I think.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, every time he got the ball and it said Romario, I was like, I know he's going to score. The minute Romario got, I was like, oh man. So it's just try and block shots constantly. But yeah, that still haunts me to this day, the word Romario.
Quite a few people, again, I wasn't quite sure about ISS 64. Quite a few people really like that game. I think Martin, that UK gamer, that was on one of his games, I think, when he picked on his list. But I wasn't aware it was as well thought of as that one. Because I played ISS Deluxe on the Super Nintendo. I thought that was great. But I didn't play the N64 version, and I went straight into then it turned to Pro Evolution on the PlayStation 1. So, but yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. Good football games, though, certainly. Actua Soccer, I thought, mate mine had on the PlayStation 1. I wasn't convinced. He also had Adidas Power Football as well, which I was even less convinced by. And that's what you talked about. That's putting power ups into a football game. And I was like, what? That was probably before Mario Strikers, I think. So, didn't quite make any sense on that one.
No, just you mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah, I've just remembered that.
But we got Mario Party 5, which is good. So that's we haven't had that one before. Yeah. Right then. So those are your 6 games, which we said you'd take with you as to keep you occupied in the desert island. Let's jump back to your last part of your gaming history, and then we'll round up with the final 2 games on your list. So after the PlayStation 2 GameCube era, you then moved on to
the natural progression was the Wii.
The Wii.
Console you might know a little bit about.
I know nothing about the Wii. I've got no Wii games whatsoever. But people Wii, it's actually wallpaper. Like, it's just behind me. It's just wallpaper.
So, as you probably remember, the Wii was quite difficult to get hold of at launch.
It was. Incredibly difficult.
I'd moved in with my girlfriend at the time, now wife. And we both liked GameCube, and she said she was going to try and get me a Wii for Christmas. Told me she couldn't get one. And come Christmas Day, opened my presents and stuff, and there was no Wii there, so it was fine.
Yeah, it wasn't a double bluff then. I can't get you a Wii for Christmas. I'm not going to get you one, and then you're sort of thinking she's got me a Wii for Christmas. So all these presents and that. Oh,
yeah. And then about an hour after opening presents, she goes, "Oh, there's one more present in the car." So we had a garage court with our cars parked in the garage court, and I ran out the front door straight to the car, just bought some shorts of Christmas Day just to get this Wii out the car.
I love the way you said I ran outside as well. It's just implying that. When was this? What year was this, Steve? 2000 and...
I want to say 2006.
2006, 2007, probably, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a 30-year-old man on Christmas Day running outside in his boxer shorts, as if he's 5 years old.
Oh yeah.
You were like those kids in the adverts, the Nintendo advert you should show all the time. They're at the Christmas, Nintendo. You weren't like that, were you?
You should see the first picture on my Instagram is me with my Wii U on Christmas Day. Oh, the biggest grin on my face.
Yeah, you couldn't get one for love of money because people used to play on them once and think this is what I want to get, and they go and buy them and they stick them in their drawers, never play them again.
Yeah, I mean I still had the GameCube at the time, and this just blew me away. The controls blew me away. The control system. But I remember getting ridiculed at work because they knew I liked the GameCube and said, "Oh, the next console is going to be called a Wii." I was like, so, yeah, unfortunate naming. Yeah, but the efforts. I just looked at it and said, "How can that work? How can gyro controls work? How does that know that?" But yeah, it was a move away from the standard controller format. People saying that's never going to work, but it worked. I was thinking about it today. I mean, the cable between the nunchuck and the Wiimote, they could have made that spiral so it was stretchy, so you could move it further apart. But other than that, I had no issues ever with it. So
no, when I first played on it, like most people, in Wii Sports, I played, and I was quite a keen bowler at one point. And that was the first thing I played. I thought, this is like the real bloody thing, this is. If I'd sort of do this and just try and put a little bit of spin on it, or a different angle on it, if I was bowling properly, it works really, really well. And the same with golf. I've said it before, I put the golf a bit too seriously because you think, actually, this is really, really good. So you end up trying to put a bit more effort into it, and then he threw me back out at one point playing it because I just far too much effort into it. But because it felt so realistic.
Yeah, I mean, we hadn't long moved into a house, so we obviously tradespeople come around and quote for things, and they're like, "Is that a Wii? Have you got one of those?" Yeah. I couldn't believe that you managed to get one, but yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely loved that, and still do now, but it's sort of that takes a bit of a backseat because the Switch is so phenomenal. So
yeah, no, it was just one of them. It hit the market at the right time, and because it was something completely different, it appealed. You can play games this way. It's like, oh, can you? Okay, and then you actually try them, and okay, there's a lot of stuff on there where perhaps the motion controls are not quite suited to the game, but on the games that it's there for and is required, it works brilliantly.
Oh yeah.
It works absolutely superbly. And even down to the Wii Fit as well, the Wii Fit board, the balance board. I mean, what a great piece of kit that is.
I mean, the wife used to play that every day religiously. Weight tracking, playing that every day.
Oh yeah, and they brought out games that use the balance board as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just a Keep Fit peripheral. It's actually been used as a game controller as well. Like, wow, this is brilliant.
Yeah,
actually.
I think Sean White was one of them. Wasn't it Snowboard Kids, I want to say?
Yeah, there's a family ski as well.
Yeah, that was it. We
some other ones as well.
Family ski or something,
yeah, family ski and snowboard, I think it is, which sits somewhere behind me. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic. Even the Zumba games work really well, I have to say. I've got two of them. I play one of them, and you put the little belt on and the controller in there, and it works. It's fantastic. You got the Just Dance games as well, making use of the motion control, and yeah, it has its detractors, and I can see why people don't like it. But show me a console that's had that big an impact so quickly. And bear in mind, after the GameCube, Nintendo weren't exactly. The GameCube had flopped. There's no way around it. It didn't sell a huge amount of units, and as we said earlier, that they were discounting it quite a lot towards the end. So Nintendo really needed this to work, and my goodness me, it absolutely did that,
No,
didn't it?
yeah.
It was
I mean,
fantastic.
I look at Nintendo differently to when they started off. I mean, when they started off, it was Sega and Nintendo were the two big powerhouses. They pushed each other along. And I had this discussion with Sega Zombies that the 16-bit era for me was great because those two were pushing each other. When Microsoft came in and Sony came in, those two took over the mantle. They were going for the big powerhouses, and Nintendo went, "We're not going to compete. We're going to do our own thing." Absolutely. So the Wii was their own way of doing things. You see that with the Wii U and the Switch. And I think because they've placed themselves in the market, that is probably people's second console. They'll be either Sony or Xbox, and then they'll have a second console that's the Wii or the Switch or something like that.
Yeah, and what's also interesting is after the success of the Wii with the motion controls, both Sony and Microsoft brought out their own versions of it. So you got PlayStation Move, and you got Kinect. Now I've not played PlayStation Move, but I do like Kinect. I think it works okay. It's got its problems, but it's not a disaster. I think it's all right. But they obviously realised that, hang on a second, this has caught on quite well. Nintendo perhaps were onto something. So,
yeah, I mean, they definitely like to do their own way of things, which and they like to try new things. So sometimes it flops, like the Virtual Boy.
Yep. Yes, that was a big flop.
And then other times it's like the Wiimote and the nunchuck. That was phenomenal when that came out.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a bit gimmicky now, but motion controls weren't really a thing then back then, were they?
Not really. You'd associate something like that with virtual reality, wouldn't you? And, it was just so different. And as you said, I've always liked about Nintendo is they've always made consoles and systems like this for people who want to play games. Now, with the Xbox and with the PlayStation, even from first Xbox and PlayStation 2 onwards, it's always been about adding on extras, like the ability to play online, like the ability to play DVDs or Blu-rays, or now with PlayStation 4 to be able to watch television, your Netflix subscription and what have you through it. They've always been very focused about that, whereas Nintendo's always been focused about the games. And that's what I liked about the Wii. It was a pure gaming system, like the GameCube was, to step away from the other two. And okay, if you want that sort of stuff, go and buy one of those. But if you want to have a good time and you want to get involved with your friends and family and, get grandma and granddad to have a game and, Auntie Doris or whatever, this is the sort of thing that they can pick up and play and have a lot of fun with. You couldn't sit down your grandma and granddad and sitting down and get to play Call of Duty on the PlayStation 3. But they'd happily sit down and do bowling or something like that on the Wii Sports.
Yeah, I mean, the first time my parents saw Wii bowling, they were like, "No, this can't work." I said, "Yeah, it does. That's it." But yeah, it's...
No, my dad was exactly the same. His sister-in-law got one. He went and bought one. He's used it twice, I think, since. Still sat in the drawer in his house somewhere, I think.
Got the cardboard box.
I know he's thrown the box away. No, if he'd kept the box, I'd have had the box off him at least. But no, he's still got it stuck in the drawer somewhere. But like so many people did, Steve. So many people did that.
Well, my brother used to take all the boxes for his Super Nintendo and they'd put them in the attic. There was an ottoman up in the attic, and everything would go in there. So we all knew they were always there.
Yeah.
And recently we went up there and that ottoman's empty, and no one is owning up to where those boxes went. Now, part of me thinks our parents have thrown them out. But part of me, I don't trust my brother, and he's got them stashed at his house somewhere.
Yeah, no one's going to take responsibility to what's happened to
him. No, they've disappeared. So.
Yeah, but no, it's a great system. It really is. It's enjoying a little bit of renaissance at the moment. The prices are going up on the games. The system shot up during lockdown second hand. But it's sort of thing that people would need, wouldn't they? If people are in lockdown, this is the ideal system for them to play on, isn't it?
prior to lockdown, you couldn't give away a Wii Fit board.
Mate, I bought my Wii Fit board at a car boot sale in the box for £3, and the people couldn't have been more delighted that somebody had bought it.
Yeah.
The little girl said, "Hooray, the Wii Fit board's gone." And I'm sitting there thinking, checking the price on CX. Well, that's selling for £32 now.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I saw them at car boots loose 50p, and people weren't picking them up at 50p.
Rollercore already said he used to buy them. He's been buying them to sort of like do paving in his garden with, like or make steps out of them.
Yeah,
because they just nobody wanted them. But Wii's were exactly the same as well. You go I bought 2 Wii's at car boot for less than £3 each because people just didn't want them. I've moved on from that. I just don't want them anymore.
Yeah.
And now they're probably about £60 second hand ish. I think 50, £60.
Yeah, you don't get a mass amount trading because I traded one in not so long ago. But
that's just what's a selling price. But I mean, but I guess a lot of the games are dirt cheap for it anyway. So that was the phenomenon. That was the Wii. Next step was the step which probably was a bit of a, I don't know. I can see where they're going with the idea, but I don't think the execution was great.
So just before that, in 2009, our house got burgled and my Wii got stolen and all my games.
Oh no! Did you have many games?
I would say about 30, maybe.
Yeah, I lost my PlayStation 1 and about 70 games to a burglary. So,
and I think that's where my GameCube went as well. That's I think my GameCube games went. And I have to say, Nintendo absolutely make you jump through hoops to try and get your account back. Absolutely, It is not easy. Yeah, so I contacted them straight away. Said, "Look, it's been stolen. This is my Nintendo account. This is our police incident number," and it's like, so much. Like they almost think you're trying to clone an account.
Really?
So, no, shut this one down. I've now bought a new Wii with my insurance money. I want my account transferred over. So all my in-game purchases, my virtual console purchases, it took absolute ages. They did finally do it, but so yeah, that's where most of my early Wii games went, and then I just went out and bought newer versions. So I had Call of Duty 3, I went out and bought Call of Duty 4 and things like that. But the thing that pains me the most, and still to this day, Wii Sports came in a cardboard sleeve on the new one.
Yeah.
And I still don't have the DVD box version.
I haven't got the DVD. I've only got the cardboard sleeve as well.
And that's when I went into CX the weekend. They've only got a reprinted one.
And they want more for that as well, don't they? And more
yeah. £25. It's ludicrous. So I've got about 4 copies of the cardboard one now, but so
you could probably trade them. Yeah, trade them in, and you'll have enough money for maybe 2 box.
Yeah. So I've got to get around to getting. But yeah, that's where I think my GameCube collection went, and I never really bought it back after that. I've already moved on to the Wii then, so it's something that pains me now because buying it back GameCube now is an expensive hobby. So in 2011, we moved house. I got my own dedicated games room in the spare bedroom and started making that and building that. And with always, every time I get a games room, you'll see this pattern. A child appears. The GameCube rapidly went. The game room rapidly went and went back into the lounge. So didn't have a lot of readily available cash. So unfortunately, some or most of my collection got sold off to build a nursery. So you'll start seeing a pattern that I've sold my collection to move to Australia. I've sold my collection to move back from Australia. I've now got burgled my collection, and now I've had to sell my collection to build a nursery. So.
Yes. Life gets in the way, unfortunately, doesn't it? So it can't be helped. But then again, the money was put to good use. So
I managed to keep the Wii and some games, but I'd left it to my wife to sell the games for me, and she drastically underpriced a lot of things.
Oh,
And when someone turned up and said, I've come to pick up Zelda, I was like, oh, here you go. No, not crossbow training, the other one. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, so I've got this got to pick up a copy of Rule of Rose. I paid £5 for it. What?
Yeah.
But did you give her any pointers on what the values were, or?
I thought she'd do her homework. I just left it to her. So I think it was going to be too painful when he said it. So I was just.
Oh man!
It's just prior to that, I'd found my best car boot pickup of all time. So we'd got to the car boot late, and it had spilled over into a second field. So we decided to go to the second field first, and there was an old couple there, or an elderly couple, not elderly but older couple, and they had a boxed Super Nintendo N64 there. I was like, oh, okay. How much do you want for that? And they went £5, and the box was mint with all the baggies. So I'll have that. Definitely have that. Went, oh, here you go. And here's a box of games, and all the games were boxed as well. That today is my best pickup ever. They said, oh, it's my son's, but he's wandered off. So I'm having that before they change their minds.
For a £5, wow.
Yeah.
That's,
and that's where I picked up GoldenEye for the first time.
You come across things like that, you just get floored by it. I had a similar experience with an N64. They're not quite as good as that one. We gone camping down in Evesham, and the next morning there's a car boot sale on the next field. And I thought, oh, this is great. I was right in the middle of redo my collection again, all proper collecting. And I was like, come on, we'll go across here. And I ain't got much money with me, and walked past the table. They're selling an N64. It was all loose stuff. There was about 3 controllers in there, and there were loads of games. There was Donkey Kong 64 in there, Pilot Wing 64, Mario 64. So some of the big hitters. Diddy Kong Racing was in there as well. And I said, how much do you want for that? And then I said, we want 20 quid. And I was sort of frantically going through my pockets and trying to find out what. I said, I've got £14.50. That's all I've got. And I said, I'll take the box as well, so you're going to take that home with you. And I got it for £14.50 or something like that. Anyway, but I kept saying, I said, that's a £15 game. That's a 15 at the time. That's a £15 game. You know, so it all added up. But yeah, just in case being in the next field at the right time. You know,
unfortunately, that got sold off for the nursery. So, but I managed to keep the Wii and a couple of games, and the only other thing I found at a car boot that I managed to keep hold, I got a Game Boy for £1, original Game Boy.
Oh, very nice.
Had Pokemon Red in it.
Oh,
for £1.
Very good.
So
I think. Yeah, I think when I got Pokemon Yellow a car boot as well. I'm pretty sure that came with a Game Boy Advance of all things, and a couple of other games for about £5 as well. So, well, this has got back years. This is going back 10 years. You can't get that sort of bargain nowadays.
No. People are too clued up now, and they check eBay prices. You don't think they're experts.
Yeah, you got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get deals like that. I'm not getting up that early. Sorry, I'm too old. Too long to be going around chasing stuff like that.
So, moving on to my next console, obviously, the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that launched in 2012, if someone wants to correct me. And just before it launched, obviously, Nintendo didn't market the best on the Wii U. And I looked at it and thought, oh, excellent, the next Nintendo console must look at this. And they showed the gamepad off, and I went, oh, that looks expensive, the gamepad. So, I looked at how much a replacement gamepad was. I think it's coming in at £250. And I was like, I want to play with other people. I'm not buying another 3 controllers at £250 a time.
Exactly.
And so I didn't buy it. I didn't get it at launch and just left it. And it wasn't till I walked into Toys R Us one day and saw it on display there. And it's like, you don't need to buy 4 gamepads. You only need 1 gamepad. And the other gamepads are just regular Wiimotes or Pro controllers.
That's right.
But yeah, it was so badly marketed that I thought I needed 4 gamepads with touchscreens.
A near enough £1,000 investment, so all the people could play it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I didn't get it. I got it really late in its life. I think one of the last ones to be released.
But you would have got it fairly cheaply then, wouldn't you?
I don't know. My wife got it for me for Christmas.
Right. Because again, when they announced that they weren't making anymore, I think the prices sort of dropped. I can't remember what they were selling them off at the end. But when I read about that, they said they're going to stop making new ones. I thought, right, this is the one to watch now, because of this limited library, 170-ish games, I think it was. And I remember thinking, yeah, this is definitely going to be one that people are going to start getting rid of, because the Switch is coming out, or they announced a Switch, or they ain't going to make any more of these. So this one that people are going to dump and get rid of. But no, it's not turned out to be like that at all. It still commands a decent price, and a lot of the games are getting ridiculously expensive for it.
I want to say I got it about 2015-ish.
I can't remember.
It came with Splatoon and Mario Kart built in. It was the black one, and my wife had bought it, so she's good at looking for deals and things. So we got it new. So
yeah, she's good at looking for deals, but she's rubbish at selling games.
Yeah. I think she sells them for how much I tell her they were. Oh, yeah. I bought them for. Yeah.
Yeah, this whole box I bought for £5.
So before I got the Wii U, I did dabble in ROMs. So I bought some other consoles. So I bought the Ouya.
Yeah.
So I could play ROMs on that. And downloaded every ROM, loaded it on there, and all of a sudden I've got every game I could possibly want, and just didn't know what to play.
Yeah.
That's the problem with ROMs, I think. Yes.
Yeah, too much choice.
So that sort of went. I had every game I think I could possibly get up to the PlayStation 2, including PlayStation 2. So
wow.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal little thing. And I used to run XBMC on it, so I could stream movies and stuff. So
that one passed me by completely. Completely passed me by.
Yeah. I think I'd seen a couple of tubers that had recommended it. They'd got the Kickstarter, and so I bought it brand new based off that. Barely used it and took it into CX, and they gave me 12 quid for it.
12 quid? Bloody hell.
Yeah, I bought it for 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can't get much for 12 quid now, can you, really?
No. I think the price is starting to go back up on those now, because I think people have found a way of the modding community's now got into those. So.
Yeah, once that happens, then the price starts to sort of shoot up in there. So what did you make of the Wii U then? Were you impressed with it, or?
Yes. Oh yeah, I loved it. So it's obviously played Splatoon to death and completed the story mode, and would play online with that. Mario Kart is phenomenal on that.
Yeah, it's a very good version. Very, very good.
Yeah, yeah. And then I started moving on to Batman Armored Edition. I loved that. Played that through to completion.
Yeah.
So I had some wireless headphones plugged into the TV, so I could over-ear ones, big ones.
Yeah.
And then the gamepad would also give you commands. So I just plugged in some earbuds and had those in, so I could hear both types. And I could play and not disturb anyone in the house with that. So that was
a great way of doing it.
Now in the house I'm currently in, so we'd gained another bedroom, so I'd got another games room again.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was. I think it's a great console. I really do. I know. Again, a lot of people. I can see why people don't like it, because the gamepad, although I like it, it doesn't scream gamepad. It screams, I don't know, something else. It's a bit big. It's quite bulky, quite cumbersome. But I like it. I think it works absolutely fine. I like the game cases. I like the colour.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it beats being blue or black or green. This is like turquoise, isn't it? I think that's not turquoise. It's just a great colour. They look really, really impressive. Yeah, no, the fact it's backwards compatible with all the Wii stuff as well. Absolutely ideal. But getting a replacement gamepad is getting very expensive. You said about 250 quid to get a replacement back then. They aren't cheap to pick up. You can buy the Wii unit on its own quite easily, very, very cheaply. But you need the gamepad to go with it. And this is Mrs. Bear bought a couple of cheap Wii U units, but they didn't come with the gamepads. So they aren't redundant because they can be used, but not as they should be. So
no, and it's the other thing. So I didn't buy obviously the Wii U at launch, and I just left it, and until I saw it in Toys R Us working this one time, and I saw Legend of Zelda playing on it. I was like, oh man, I've got to get this. The new Zelda game's out, and I'd completely sort of gone off gaming a bit because I'd not really followed any of the trends. I'd just played my Wii occasionally. So got this based on Legend of Zelda, and when I'd got it and started researching it, found out it wasn't Legend of Zelda, it was Hyrule Warriors, and Legend of Zelda wasn't out on it at all.
Oh, yes, I've got that, I think, somewhere.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I've seen Hyrule Warriors playing, expecting that was the new Legend of Zelda game. So,
But Breath of the Wild did come out on it, didn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Got there
at the same
eventually.
time as the
Yeah.
Switch. But yeah. I mean, another console I tried at the same time was JXD 7800B. It's a handheld tablet dedicated console, but it's another ROM-based one.
Right, I'm with you.
So it's about the same size as a gamepad or a Switch, but you just load ROMs onto it and play it like that. And it looks phenomenal for anything up to PlayStation 2. Again, Crazy Taxi was brilliant on it, but again, I had every ROM under the sun I could play and nothing to play.
Too much choice. As I said, you get one of these, you load one of these things up and you go, right, what do I want to play now? And you go through all the games. Maybe, just too much. It's like that now. I look at the shelves and go, what do I want to play? There's just too much to pick here. And you always picking something you played a number of times before anyway.
And the problem with this JXD handheld, you couldn't play it outside because the light would bounce off the screen so much you couldn't see anything.
That's not
so
very good, is it, really? Yeah.
You'd be playing in your house, and then the battery life was only 3 hours.
That's all? 3 hours?
Yeah.
Blimey.
It's terrible.
That's pathetic in this day and age, really.
And I bought that based off the Gadget show recommending it.
Well, you shouldn't go off your own recommendations. You should just go and just do, what's it? As you said earlier, box art. Just you should stick to that tried and tested method. You should not get involved in what people recommend to you, especially the Gadget show.
Yeah, I know. They made it look good. So then, obviously, just played Wii U. I'm just trying to think of the games. I played a bit of Xenoblade Chronicles X. That's the only Xenoblade Chronicles I haven't got into. Just the only ones to get on with.
Not a series I know, so.
Yeah. Fallout. Not Fallout. The other one. Mass Effect 3.
Yes, yes, that one. Yeah.
Played that. Monster Hunter 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are the games we're all playing, and then Switch came along. It was almost a year or so later, and I said to my wife, "You've just got me this Wii U. Switch is coming out now." So,
did you get one more or less straight away, or
launch date? The second it went up for pre-order, ordered it.
Yeah.
So the minute it appeared on Amazon, me and my brothers are all there trying to order it. So.
Wow.
So,
it's great system.
Because I'd had sort of notice it was coming up, but work, when they give us bonuses in Amazon vouchers. So I was just saving those up, put them in my Amazon account. The second it came up for pre-order, boom, just spent them all.
Straight in, gone. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that was all my money gone. I couldn't even afford to buy a game. I've got the system, can't even afford to buy a game. But luckily, the wife had.
Well, you could look at it for a bit at least, sit in the box there, and, But it is a great system. It really is good. I absolutely love the Switch. It's I like this whole Wii U Switch. I mean, okay, the Wii U feels a bit in between the two. And really, I think if they'd taken all the good bits in the Wii U and put them onto the Switch, you could have probably skipped the Wii U. But I always feel very sad because I just don't give it enough time, but I love it when I do play it. It really is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I've got games I want to play on the Wii U, and they've just sat on the shelf because I've not got a chance to do it. So,
Have you got much of a Switch selection?
I'm going to say somewhere between 40 and 50 Switch games.
There's many as well. That's a big number. Then again,
I've got a son that's got a Switch as well, so he's got about 10 of those maybe. So I'm including those. So.
Are they big gamers, your kids?
So my oldest two that are now living on their own. My eldest son, he is PlayStation mad, so he's got PlayStation 1 through to 5. Got a PlayStation 5 on launch day. Plays that non-stop. And his girlfriend he lives with, she's got all the Xboxes, so he's got all the Xbox systems and PlayStation systems in his house.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
And a Switch.
And a Switch.
And then my daughter, she's a casual gamer, but she's moved in with her boyfriend. He's got a PlayStation 5. She's got a Switch, so...
They're very much following the footsteps then.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of introduced them to their first handhelds. I mean, I've skipped over all my handhelds that I've had, but they started off with Game Boy Advance and then the SPs, and then they went to the DSs, and then I bought them both GameCubes, so I was lending games out to them. And then my son, who's the Sony fan, drifted off to Xbox 360.
Yep.
And my daughter sort of stopped gaming after that, and then sort of gone back to Sony and Switch. But my youngest son now, he's just turned 10. He's just picked up Pokemon Snap, so that's his game at the time. He loves that. But he's got stuck on a bit now, so I've lent him Captain Toad, and he's absolutely loving that now. So he's playing Captain Toad. My daughter is only 2, but she loves watching Mario and picking up my plushies and stealing my amiibo. So
so she's going to be developing some gaming genes down the line, I expect. Did your wife play much games, or does she tend to leave that to you?
When I played Pokemon Sapphire, I got Pokemon Ruby and told her to play it so I could get all the opposite Pokemon off of her. And over that, she played a bit of Animal Crossing on the DS, and then she sort of fizzled out and not really played much.
Yeah. I mean, she's obviously done quite a bit in terms of assisting you with your collection over the years, one way or the other, whether it's selling it off too cheaply, but bought your stuff in. But I mean, is she supportive of the hobby as well? Does she understand, sometimes why you need to go and get these things and keep adding to the collection? And
so I think you asked the same question to Femi Chicken. I was listening to it today before I come on, and I'll say tolerant.
It's a very popular word, isn't it? Yeah, it's not quite so, but tolerates it. Yeah.
She. I mean, we're getting on to in a minute where I am now with my gaming collection, but she won't play. She won't watch me play. She doesn't. She feigns interest. She thinks YouTube's a waste of time.
Really?
Because I haven't got a dedicated area that I can do my videos from. It'll be, you're busy this week, so you can't do a video, and it's just I have to fit around the family time, which is fine for me. But
that sounds fun. Yeah.
I'm going out for the evening with friends, so she'll say, once the kids are in bed, you can do whatever you like. So I've got to find somewhere quiet and not disturb them. But it's normally, can you take the kids to the park on a Saturday morning, and I'll record one of my Sunday morning shout-outs on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
The shock of people going, you don't do this at 5 o'clock on a Sunday? No, I don't do it at 5 o'clock on a Sunday.
Of course not.
Kill me.
Yeah, I mean, it is good that you have some understanding there anyway. But it's a strange old business. I think I'm lucky in a way that my other half's quite invested. We talked about it the other day, and she was saying that we've both given up an awful lot for this. You do understand why? I understand why she said that, because it takes a lot of time out of our spare time I mean, just to do this evening, as we're recording it now, as we're looking at knocking on nearly 3 hours again. If I'm doing a couple of these a week and I'm doing the other things that I do, podcasts plus my own videos, it's an awful lot of time out of the time that you should be spending together. So I'm quite lucky in a way that she has an interest, and she's does encourage it as well. It's her idea to start doing the Wii stuff.
Yeah.
I sort of said, all these Wii games are really cheap. She said, why don't you buy them then? And I thought, yeah, why don't I buy them? She said, as long as you don't go mad and spend stupid money, then yeah, if they're time 25p or 50p a time, just buy them. Okay. So that's where it sort of started from. And that's why I always, try and bring into it rather than just sort of go out and buy stuff and then come back in again and not tell her about it. I'll come back in and say, yeah, look what I got today, And
no, she won't actively get me to spend stuff, and I don't think she'll pick up anything. If she'll make me aware if she thinks there's a bargain around. But as I said, if I said to her, I'm looking for a Virtual Boy, let's say, can you find me a great deal? She'll spend days, weeks trying to find me a good deal on something. But yeah,
that's good. That's good.
So that's where I sort of went. After the Switch, I was trying to rebuild my games room. So obviously I need to get all the consoles I had back in the time. And my wife was the one that went off and was buying me these consoles and finding the best deals and buying me in bundles for different Christmases and stuff like that. So she bought my NES for me with games bundle. She bought my SNES for me with my games bundle. My daughter bought me the GameCube back with a games bundle. So she likes to do that. She likes to find the best deal. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. Come through.
And with the building the games room, basically we've had our house extended, and it's now we can have a door through to our garage. So we've partitioned the garage, and that's what I said. You're 100% sure you want a games room? You don't want a laundry room or anything like that? No, it's a games room. You're going to get that back because obviously another child had taken my games room again. So yeah, she's very supportive of that, and she's really pushing me to get that finished. And I said, look, we'll make it more of a family cinema room that we can sit and enjoy movies together, because it's going to be soundproof, and it's going to be more for the kids to enjoy and play in there as well. But under supervision, obviously.
Of course.
Yes. But yeah, it's going to be more something that I can enjoy with the family. I'm not going to get my own dedicated room. I just want to make sure that I can spend it with the kids and sit in there and not ignore the family.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing, and you have to reach that. I suppose I've got exactly the same with the other room, other bedroom, is that I'm not having that room for me. Some of that room is going to be for my stuff. The other half of the room is still going to be for the guest bedroom. It's like where I am now, although it's got all the games around the outside. Where I'm sitting in front of now is where the designated office space is, which is what we put in here in the first place. So my collection fits in around where there's a space, and then once that space is filled, that is going to be it. So it seems very unfair to sort of, as you said, to have a designated room and for something like that, and you said, "Oh, no, I'll turn it into a family room." I didn't when I first moved back into this house. It was like I wanted to do something with that spare bedroom there and have, like what you said, like a media room. And I was going to set up a television, and because all my filters into films at the time, and put some film posts on the wall and get DVDs in there and videos and do all that. And it never quite worked out like that. But this is sort of about as close I'll get to it. So.
Yeah, I just felt very selfish having a dedicated room just for me in the house, and it's like, no,
we'll
make it a family room, and it's going to have a sofa rather than a gaming chair. It's going to have a sofa in there that we can all
something everybody can enjoy.
Yeah,
that's a good way of doing it. So that's your gaming history then. Is there anything else you want to add that we didn't touch on before we move on to your final two games?
I'll just briefly talk about my handheld. I'm not going to go into any great detail. So I was never a handheld fan. Both my brothers had the Game Boy around the time of launch, and the other one had the Game Gear.
Yeah.
And I just thought, why would you want to play on something that's got inferior graphics? I've got my Mega Drive here. I'll just play on that. It's much better graphics. And never really thought of taking anything out of the house. If I'm out of the house, I'm with friends, and I'm not going to be playing a Game Boy or a Game Gear. So
that's right.
But that completely missed me until. I mean, I saw and played on the Game Boy Advances, but it wasn't something I actively went for. It wasn't until the DS, then I thought, this was amazing. The first time I played on DS, it's wow.
Yeah.
The touchscreen, and I got a cheap game called Project Rub. I don't know if you know it.
Yes.
It's
I've got it.
And when I was showing someone, and the sailing game, mini game on there, you have to sail your boat to pick up your girlfriend that's surrounded by sharks.
Yeah.
How do you? I said, you blow on it. You blow the sail ship along. No. I went, yeah, you blow on it, and you blow on it, and it's moved. And for me, that was just so simple to do, but someone had thought of that and done it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's that whole innovative thing that they came up with. It, you know, it's that's Nintendo through and through.
Yeah.
Yes, Sony and Microsoft would never have thought about doing something like that.
And then I remember walking into a game and seeing them showing a 3DS, and they put one of their AR cards down on the desk, and how it had melted into the desk. And I was like, wow. Because I'd really not got my mind around how is 3D going to work without 3D glasses. And I bought a 3DS on launch based on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really. I've only got the 3DS game for, which is Pilot Wings, and I can't do Magic Eye. So I thought, how am I going to get on with 3D if I can't do Magic Eye, which was all the craze 30 years ago? How am I going to get on with a sort of? I can't do 3D glasses on the telly particularly well either. So I thought, I'm going to cope with this. And I was playing Pilot Wings for about an hour and a half, thinking this is great. This 3D effect is really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I turn it off now on most games and don't use it. But
I was just so impressed by it. I thought this is really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, there was always people saying, "Oh, it's giving you headaches," but with the early 3DSs, you had to have them square onto your face, and the minute it started blurring, you know you've moved slightly off square. But
yeah,
the new 3DSs have got eye tracking, so would compensate for that now. So
yeah, again, it's just so different. Just to try something like that. And I think it was because there was that interest in 3D again, wasn't there? With the 3D tellies, 3D Sky, the 3D channel, the BBC did some stuff in 3D as well. You still buy films in 3D. They're still releasing films in 3D. And we're lucky enough to have 2 3D tellies, so and a load of 3D films.
Yeah, so I never bought. I wanted to wait to see if it was a fad, and it's still bumbling along, but I don't think it's.
It is a fad, but Mrs. Bear was really into 3D. She really liked it. She went to the cinema to see a few IMAX films in 3D and really caught on. So that's why we got about 60 Blu-ray 3D films now.
Wow.
But like I said, we had one telly which did 3D, and end of last year we bought another one, a second-hand one, just in case that one broke down, because the 3D technology isn't in them anymore.
No.
But you also got the benefit of having that as well, because some PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 games came out in 3D as well. So you got the benefit of possibly playing those in 3D. Not my thing. I didn't see it myself. I said at the time, like, I thought it was a bit too much of a fad. But
actually, that reminds me, I nearly bought one of those Philips Ambilight TVs with the lights on the back that would glow onto the wall that matched the screen. And they came out and they were white TVs. And it was the same time as the Wii, and I said, everything's going white. We need to change everything to white. And I'm so glad I didn't buy one now. But wow, I had this white monstrosity in the house.
And I wouldn't have touched the Philips with a bars pole, to be honest with you. No. Trust me. Trust me. Once they break down, that's it. They're gone. There's no repairing on them. But
I normally stick with Sony for TV, so.
Sony or Panasonic. The Sony aren't quite as good as they used to be. Massively off track again. This is to bringing parts of my work into this, but yeah, I mean, Sony. About 10 years ago, were fantastic, but I think Panasonic have overtaken them a little bit.
I mean, we've had our Sony now since we got married in 2008. It's still going. It's been battered by 2 children thinking it's touchscreen. It's got food stuck to it. It's
I've got one. I've got one since
someone's tried to steal it
2005.
once and they couldn't get it out the door, so it's got dumped in the middle of the lounge. So it's had a fair old whack and it's still going. And I won't replace it because I've got a 2-year-old that now whacks it with anything possible. So it's still going. So
it should be all right. But I've got one from 2005, which is still going. But modern Sony's probably aren't quite as good as they used to be. Panasonic for me, probably if you want a good picture, is the best one to get. Having said that, we've got Panasonic. Yeah, I think the new one that we had, the one we bought second hand last year was it Panasonic? Was it Sony? I can't remember. I think it was a Panasonic. It's really, really good. Really, really good. But there we go. Anyway, I'm talking about work now, so I'm going to move on from that one. Let's then finish off your last 2 games, then, Steve, because we've got we'll come to the game that you hate right at the very end. But let's talk about the game which I always say is a game that you perhaps played before, didn't get enough time to put into it, or you got stuck at a certain point, want to go back and do it, or something happened, you halfway through it, then go around to finishing, whatever. This is
Resident Evil 4 on the Wii.
On the Wii.
Yes.
Which a lot of people regard as possibly the best version of Resident Evil 4.
So I can't remember if I got this near launch or later on, but I'd got to a point and got stuck, and then the next shiny game came along and it just ended up getting neglected. And it wasn't until years later that everyone raves about how great this game is that I thought, I need to go back and revisit this. So I thought being on the desert island would be a great opportunity to go back and revisit it and play it again. So
just not in dark.
Yeah.
Especially on your own on a desert island, that's probably the last game you'd want to be playing. Had you played this on any other systems or not?
GameCube as well. I just don't get on with shooters on the GameCube shooters without motion control. I just don't get on with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't target quick enough, I find.
That makes sense, I suppose. I'm terrible with a joypad anyway, trying to play first-person shooters.
Which is why I think I struggled a bit with GoldenEye, to be honest, and where that sort of passed me by as well.
But then I used to be all right at Medal of Honor, but when it became a bit more involved, I sort of lost interest or got bad at them. I mean, there are some good shooters on the Wii. There's no doubt about it. It is tailored for that system, certainly.
Yeah.
Did you get very far with Resident Evil 4, or?
I want to say only a couple of hours in, and then it's sort of...
So it's going to be practically like starting a new game again if you take it with you. Yeah.
Definitely want to go back to that, but I've just got such a backlog, and there's so many other games I want to go back to. It's just like, this is one I should go back to.
And that's not including all those ROMs either, otherwise,
I've definitely got rid of all the ROMs. It's just having something like that is madness. But
if you're like most of us, you're probably going to get to the point now where you say, I've got a backlog. What is the size of your backlog?
I hate to think.
Yeah.
Are we
talking tens, or are we talking hundreds, or are we talking thousands? Hundreds. Yeah. Do you think you'll ever get around to playing them all, though?
Retirement's getting closer.
Everyone says that. I spoke to Generation Pixel about this, and he said exactly the same thing. Which says, well, he said, I'll be retiring shortly. He's not that old, but he's implying that when the time comes. And he said, then I'll sit down and play these games. And I'm sort of thinking, I'm not sure I'm going to get that far. I don't think I'm ever going to play all these before I get to retirement. I'll decide I've had enough of them and just get rid of them. Because at some point, my hands are going to stop working, reactions are going to go completely.
Yeah, I mean, someone asked me at work today, what are you going to do when you decide you're too old to play games? I went, well, they're there for the kids to play as well.
That's the thing. So. You have the children to pass it on to. In my situation, I don't. So it's always a constant thought. What am I going to do when I get to the point where I'm going to be too old for this? I'm going to be too old for trudging around the shops on a Saturday trying to find stuff. It's already getting a bit of a chore. You're just beginning to wonder, how much longer am I really going to be doing this in 10 years' time? I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, I hope so as well.
Yeah.
I might have got to 700 subscribers by another 10 years.
Be interesting to see if I'm still at 200 by the end of this. Yeah.
Well, you don't forget this is 3 weeks ago when this is going out, so you can remember that.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think we all going to reach a certain point in our lives where we're going to say, you know what? Unless we're in a position like yourself, you've got people to pass it on to. With me, it's going to be a case of at what point do I decide that's it now? I don't know. Maybe another 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few YouTubers that have gone completely. Yeah, no, I'm going to sell my collection off, and that's it. And they always regret it. Always regret it.
You can do that too soon now. If you're young, I mean, even at our age, we're relatively the same age. If we did something like that, you're still relatively young enough to sort of say, well, do you know what, that's probably a mistake. You wouldn't go and collect everything back again, but you might collect bits of it. I might just get that back or what have you. But if you're younger, if you're in your say mid-30s and you made that decision to say, I've been collecting this for 10 years, I'm going to get rid of it all. Chances are you're going to collect it again before long.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes, I've built this that the kids can use. Will they want to play a game that old later on in life? Are you going to be interested in the NES, the SNES? Maybe not. And I might get to that stage in life that sell it and go and have a round the world cruise with the wife or something. But I don't know. It's something I've not really thought about what's ever going to happen. But it's built for the family as a family room. But yes, I'll be using it for YouTube. I don't know what to think of what's ever going to happen to it. But.
I think if I ever sold mine, I'd have enough for a bag of chips. I think possibly, but
You didn't sell it at its peak in the pandemic. You could have been a millionaire now.
Well, the way I've always said it, and I'll say it again: if I pay 50p for something and I sell it for £1, and I've got a lot of stuff like that, then that's what I want, Or if I sell it for 50p, well, okay, I ain't made anything, but I ain't lost anything. And I know that there is amongst the tat some good stuff in there, so we'll see. But there will come a point in time where I'll probably have to sort of make that decision. Anyway, that's food for thought. Let's wind this up then, mate, because we got your last game. We always say it's a game you hate, and for some reason it's managed to end up on a desert island just to torment you, just to frustrate you. Because at some point you're going to have to play it. I don't care what you say, you're going to have to play it. I don't care how many hours you need to put into Zelda. You got to remember that we control the perimeter. We control the perimeter around this desert island, so there's going to be no rescue ships coming along until you've played this.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it once already, though.
I did.
Yeah, which I'm a bit surprised about. But go on, put everybody out of their suspense of belief. And
right, 2 disclaimers first. One, I chose these over a year ago, so if someone thinks that I've chose it just to troll them, no, I didn't.
That's very true, because we did say at the very start we did discuss it about a year ago. So,
and I'm probably going to lose a lot of subscribers for saying this, but the game I dislike is Pokemon.
Any Pokemon, isn't it? Yeah.
Any of the standard Pokemon style games.
Why?
So I got my first Pokemon game was Sapphire on the GBA, and I got that strangely from the Nintendo Star Points. It's the first time anything came up on the catalogue that was physical and not a wallpaper for your phone or anything like that. So I grabbed it, played it all the way through to completion, bought even Ruby for the wife to play so I could have all the other Pokemon, and loved it. And then I bought the next game, which was then Pearl on the DS. Even took the day off work to go to a Pokemon event so you could get rare Pokemon. Played that through to completion. Loved that. And then bought the next one. And it's like, hang on, this is the same story every time. Get one of your 3 starter Pokemon, either grass, fire, or water. Go around this world, meet some gym leaders, and then go and battle the end game boss. It's the same story every time. And I just can't be doing that every time. And so there's two. I had this argument with someone the other day. There's 2 facets to Pokemon. 1, the story, and 2, collect them all. And you can't collect them all with only 1 game. And I'm only going to have 1 game on this island, so I can't collect them all.
That's very true.
So I'm playing a story I've already played before, and I can't complete the game because I can't collect them all. So it's just like that would frustrate the hell out of me, that I can't complete something, and I'm playing the same game again and again.
It's good logic. I do agree with it. It's something I've never got on with properly. I
mean, the original game was great. And the original one I played was great. But then they've just basically reskinned it, changed the Pokemon, and then off you go. Here's the same game. Okay, there is some slight differences in maps, and there is a story behind it, but essentially it's the same game. I can't be playing that game.
People love Pokemon. I know
I'm going to get a lot of hate for that.
but you've given it a good go, though. As you said, you bought Sapphire, wasn't it, to start with?
Yeah, Sapphire first.
And then you bought the next one that came out. I thought you went to an event to get.
Yeah.
So it's not as if you've played it once for 2 hours like I have and thought, that's not my thing. You've actually thrown yourself in at the deep end.
Oh, yeah.
Got into it, and then by the time the third one, you go, I don't want to play this anymore.
Yeah, I can't understand it.
Yeah, so...
Wife's coming. So I'm right next to the kitchen.
Oh, right. Oh, hang on. That's good. Yep.
Yeah, she's not being the quietest.
We can always edit this bit out.
Oh, okay.
We'll leave it in. Or we can leave it in. I don't know. We'll just sit right at the very end anyway. But
so yeah, it's Pokemon. It was just basically because it's the same game over again, just reskinned with some new Pokemon. So
yeah, I can see why that. It's like FIFA, isn't it? You know, you have the one game in 1 year, the next year they just change the players and a couple of extra things added onto it, and another £50, please. You know, it's yeah, I don't know, not my sort of thing. I've just never been able to get into it. Would have liked to have done, but I see what it's all about and maybe enjoy it a bit more. But it's just not my thing. Yeah. The good news is you've gone down to 195 subscribers since we started talking about this, which is great because nobody's actually watching this as we're recording it, which is really strange how that's happened as well. So there we go. So we'll finish on Pokemon then, which is I think we finished on some strange games before now, but that's another one for it. But yeah, some absolutely fascinating stuff there. Some really interesting game choices. Like your game history as well. Really interesting to hear about how you sort of went from system to system, especially having moved to Australia at some point in your life as well, and come back, and that's been really interesting to hear about as well. And a couple of systems there we haven't talked about either, which is great. So this has been really good, Steve. I've really enjoyed doing this, and a year in the making, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you for having me on.
No, that's no problem.
We got there in the end.
We did. No, it's been great to do it, and we did. I forgot to mention something. We did a live stream, didn't we? About 12 months ago, wasn't it? We did live pickups.
Yeah. I think I'd been nominated to do live pickups. It was the first time I was going to be live, and I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to talk enough to keep this going. So I thought, who's good at talking? And I thought,
yeah,
I thought you a lot.
There we go, and there we are today, 3 hours later. still going as well. But no, I say it's been brilliant to do this, and thank you again for giving up so much of your time to do it as well.
No, that's my pleasure. That was something I wanted to do anyway, so it was great for you letting me come on and chat about rubbish.
That's right. Everyone likes talking about rubbish because they don't often get a chance to do it in everyday life. But yeah, no, that's great. Thanks for being such a great guest. I said right at the very, very start, I'll put a link to Steve's channel in the description below if you've not been across to see what he's all about. He's done pickups. He's got his Sunday morning shout out. He's done some virtual responses, video responses, not virtual responses, and of course a 3-time YouTube of the Month nominee. He may even have won last month's YouTube of the Month by the time this goes out. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on that.
Or maybe not.
Maybe. Well, we don't know, do we? And he may still have 200 subscribers by the time this goes out as well. But
or not.
Or not. Let's hope it's more than that. That's it then. So I'll wrap that up. Steve, thanks very much indeed again once more.
No, thank you for having me on. It's great.
And that's it for now. If you have enjoyed this episode of Desert Island Games, don't forget there are others in the archive. Some going back to last year, some we've done in this series. Another episode coming up every Saturday morning, getting uploaded to YouTube at 8 o'clock in the morning for people to consume however they want to, whether they watch it straight the way through or during the week. However, is the best way to do it. If you have enjoyed that, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Don't forget to comment, subscribe as well if you'd like to do so, and tick the bell for more notifications when my videos go up. But that's it. We're out to rescue Steve to Desert Island. Until then, until my next guest arrives, which is the Retro Bear, saying thanks very much indeed for listening. And it'll be none too long before we speak to you again. Do take care, and bye for now.